Today's video is brought to you by Assiniboia Downs Gaming and Event Center. And be sure to tune in to Trust the Profits Live Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern for Monday Night Lights, hosted by Matthew DeSantis.
Salutations, one and all. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well on this wonderful Monday, June 19th. We are here as myself, Matthew DeSantis. You can find me on Twitter at the handle @FailedToMenace, joined by Keith each and every stride. You can find him on Twitter. You can find him on Stable Duel under those monikers. And Keith, appreciate you joining me today to talk about, I think, a really exciting card that we have going on at Assiniboia, post time in 30 minutes. And we're going to talk about this card, get you ready, but also get you prepped for the big Stable Duel contest. You still got 30 minutes to enter that contest tonight. So definitely make sure to check that out and get in the game if you're not already. A couple of different contests. You got a $5 contest, which, as our own Jessica Tugwell said, is the cheapskate contest. And then you get the $25 contest. And listen, it's $25 contest, $1,000 in the pot. $300 goes to the winner, $200 for second, top 10 at least double up. They're $25 by winning 50. But here's the real kicker. If you finish in the top 5 of the $25 contest, automatically qualify for the $1,000 winner take all Stable Duel contest taking place on Manitoba Derby Day. So a lot of excitement there. We're going to get you ready for those stables. But Keith, talk to me, man. How you feeling about this card and how you doing this week?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Matthew. Thank you. It's a exciting Monday Night Lights here, Assiniboia, and just like you touched on, I mean, there's so many different ways. The $5 game, and then that $25 incentive. I mean, that's I got a stable in that too. So
nice.
Yeah, I went a few different ways, and we're gonna obviously talk about it all night here, but we're gonna see some good races, some horses stretching out, which I'm interested in seeing. So. Appreciate everybody joining in, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. We absolutely have some horses stretching out. We got a first mile race, I think, of the year. So that's going to be a lot of fun going a mile. Brett, what's going on? Good evening to you. Brad, let's have a winning night tonight. I know I'm excited for it, and I know you are too. And listen, we got Colin, who is hanging out in the chat, but Colin's going to be joining us later. He's just got to put those pesky little kids to bed. But for right now, we also got Cindy checking in from the track, letting us know what the deal is. Hot and humid. I saw that in the forecast. Hot and humid up there at Winnipeg. 86 degrees Fahrenheit with humidity, 97 degrees in terms of that heat index. So no joking around there up there. So that is some pretty serious heat up in Winnipeg for that time of year. So a lot of stuff going on. Always good to see her there. Marla, great to see Marla in the chat. We got to give a shout out to Shoddy as well. Shoddy has got us up live at Foghorns in Arkansas. Much appreciated. I don't think she has the volume on, but appreciate Shoddy giving us a little bit of love there at the bar up in Arkansas. So that's a lot of fun.
That's great.
And this is going to be a great night. Excited for a big night here at Assiniboia. And it's a big night when we get another member of our team joining so early in the card, and that is our own Jessica Tugwell. Jessica, how are you doing? Hey. You've been lurking in the chat, and now you're here in the live stream.
Yeah, I decided to take the next step, right?
I love it.
Nice to be on with you.
Yeah, nice to be on with you, Keith.
Thanks, Jessica. You too.
And so, Jessica, obviously, have you played Assiniboia before this recent meet? I mean, was this a track that you were paying a lot of attention to, or are you just kind of a newbie in this world?
Not until I realized probably 2 or 3 weeks ago that they had free PPs, and then it was game changer, honestly.
Absolutely. No, that is one of the things I'll say for all the folks out there listening. You got to go to the Assiniboia Downs player portal. You got free PPs. You got charting horse value content for free. You got HR, Horse Racing Nation track trends information for free. My Capping the Card episode every Monday is up there and embedded on the player portal as well. Cool. So a lot of different free content. Right exactly. Shameless self-promotion. That's what I'm all about. So
that's great.
A lot of great content there. So exciting time. Like I said, we got a Stable Duel contest, the $5 and the $25 game. So we're excited for that. We're going to get you ready. We still have about 25 minutes to go. We're going to talk a little bit about strategy in this game, as well as maybe some long shots that all three of us like. And then obviously we're going to get you ready for race 1 through race 7. We're going to be talking pick sequences. We're going to be talking vertical, horizontal bets. We're going to be recapping the races as they come through. We're going to be showing the races live. And so once the track feed kind of gets up and going, we'll be sharing the track feed. You get to hear Kurt give those great calls at Assiniboia. So going to be a lot of fun to have everybody on board. But Jessica, I guess I'll start with you. And because I know you're in the stable duel contest already. Now we're going to have to talk about getting you up to the $25 game. But I know you're at least in one of those contests. So, listen, for the folks maybe not playing stable duel before, daily fantasy game, $50,000 budget. You got to manage long shots with favorites because you can't just afford all favorites every single race. So as we get ready for this card, couple of favorites that maybe, or a couple of long shots, I should say, that maybe stuck out to you that you were interested in using in some of the different races.
Yeah. The one that I really liked was 20-1. It was my top pick in the race, Uncle Mo's Cat in the fourth race. I thought that horse getting back to a mile made a ton of sense. If he runs that last race, I don't think there's any way he goes off at 20-1, but it certainly made for a good stable duel pick. And then I saw you also talk about the first time starter in the last race, the 8 horse who was Island High, who seemed like a good one to pick at a middle type of price. And I'm trying to remember what other prices there were. Had Shotgun One in the second race was another one that at a decent price that I thought had a good chance.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point about, particularly race 4, these horses stretching out to a mile and what a change in dynamic that is to some extent. These first few races and first few weeks have been 5 furlongs, 5.5, 6 furlong sprints. Now we're stretching out these horses to a mile. Not all of those horses are going to like it. And like you said, a horse like Uncle Mo's Cat, the number 5 horse in the fourth race, 4 for 6 lifetime at the distance. So getting this horse back to, in terms of in the money, and 4 for 6 in the exacta at the distance, getting this horse back to a mile would seem to make all the sense in the world for trainer Duncan Murray. You have a good jockey up as well, so that one makes a lot of sense. And you got you kind of knock the cobwebs off a little bit in the first race, and knock some of the rust off. So that was definitely a good one. Keith, I know you just said you used that one as well. Any others that you were taking a look at throughout the card?
Yeah, I gave a look. Well, I definitely like that 5 you mentioned. And then I like, let's see, actually, you were just touching on race 4. In one of my stables, I used Last Renegade, the 1. And, last race is actually, this horse is going back to the mile. And last replay checked and lost ground early. I just thought, coming off the layoff, kind of had couple excuses there and a kind of a rough trip. And, last time was at this distance, actually won back at the mile. So I know the rail draw has been kind of tough, but, mile can maybe work out a trip. And, I like 8-1 stable duel. I was willing to, find out and hopefully get in the money at least at, at a price.
That was the other horse I used in that race.
Oh, there you go.
Thinking alike here. Good.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, listen, I think Last Renegade makes a lot of sense. Like you said, the only other time this horse ran at a mile, 1, that was a turf paradise, and you're right. You can make some excuses for that race last time out. It was on a heavily speed favoring track, and the horse did have to check up and wasn't on the lead. 7 furlongs, sloppy conditions. There were a lot of things going on there. So, I think you can make a lot of excuses for Last Renegade. And one of the things I will say, year to year, these things change. I remember last year when you looked at Horse Racing Nation's track trends, when they went 2 turns at Assiniboia, you wanted to be on the rail. You really wanted to be in that post position 1, 2, or 3. That is where the overwhelming majority of winners ended up coming from. So that inside position, as much as it might be detrimental in the sprints, is that much more advantageous when you start going 2 turns. So, definitely like that one a lot. Marv, my man, I am with you. We're going to try to hit the pick 4 tonight. We got the mandatory $50,000 guaranteed $50,000 pick 4 starting in race 4. So race 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll be giving out the ticket that we're going to be using here on the channel, but obviously want to hear from all of you. And listen, all of those in the chat, let us know, who are you guys using in Stable Duel? What are some, either maybe a big favorite that you're super confident in, or let us know a big long shot that you really like. Listen, I was a huge fan of the number 8 horse, in that last race, Island High. This was just a horse that when he dove into the pedigree was just obscene. And
I didn't even think it was real. The stats when I was looking at him,
yeah,
it was like video.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think the dam is producing something like 39% winners overall. And this is, 5 very well raced offspring that she's had. So, including Hidden Grace, who was a multiple stakes winner at Assiniboia Downs and was 18 for 27 winning in her career, 15 for 20 winning at Assiniboia. She also has another offspring who's actively running at the track that a lot of us know who follow is Melisandre, who's a nice horse as well, who's won actually just one last time out. So there's a lot of precocity in that family. There's a lot of success in that family, and there's a lot of success doing a lot of different things. They can sprint, they can route, they can do a couple of different things there. So, it's always a little dicey with a first timer. Admittedly, there are some gaps in the workout leading up to this race, from basically the beginning of May to the beginning of June. But this is a really hot barn for Lisa Pruitt. You got a good jockey up, and it's one of those where I definitely worth taking a shot. And this was one where I kind of combined Island High with one of the 2 favorites, either Sparkling Silver in 1 or Double Barrel Delight, the number 4, who's another horse I liked a little bit in that race. So again, the beauty of 7 races, you can double up in some, use a little bit of a long shot, use a favorite, all kind of averages out. So exciting night though. And like I said, let us know who you like and let us know where you're checking in from. We got Joe hanging out from lovely, sunny Orlando, and very jealous of you, Joe, to be down there even this time of year, even down in the summer. It's lovely. I love Central Florida. So good to see Joe there in the chat. I know long shot Louis sitting here. He's going 5-3 exacta box in the first at Assiniboia. And so he's going to be using guaranteed delivery and double time. And Keith, I know you were talking a little bit about double time before we got started.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, a short field, and I watched the replay of double time, and I'm going to pull up my notes here, but like a lot of runners getting off the layoff, double time was kind of running evenly the entire race, and really I didn't see the jockey, persevere too much. Maybe kind of first time, getting maybe a little stamina, and a short field, I definitely used the 10-1 stable duel wise. And, I switched it up on a few different ones. I'll touch on that too.
Sure. We got, Scott checking in from Purcellville, and which is actually just right down the road from me. I can just take I-66 to Scott's house. I might do that halfway through. I'll just let you guys do it, and I'll just hang out with Scott the rest of the night. But Uncle Sully checking in as always from Kansas. Good to see Uncle Sully in the chat. Greg checking in from Nebraska. That's always a lot of fun to have Greg there in the chat. Travis is checking in from up in Alberta. So love to see, obviously Cindy, not the only one checking in from up there. So a lot of fun. And, Cindy's bringing up a horse that I'm taking an eye look at in the very first race. And that is, the number 4 Jersey Shadow. And this is mainly because of the trainer, Marvin Buffalo, who is winning everything that's not nailed down, basically, when he's entering up at Assiniboia. 5 for 9, limited entries, but 5 for 9 winning, 7 for 9 in the money. This is a horse that will flash that speed. My biggest concern is, will this horse fade? Because presumably Bite the Bullet Bro and Jersey Shadow are going to duel up front. Will this one have the stamina? But this is a horse that just feels like it likes winning all of a sudden. It kind of figured out how to win at the end of last year and came back off the layoff and won. So I was impressed by that. Jess, where were you looking in race 1, and kind of what were some of your thoughts or horses that you were looking at Stable Duel or your top pick?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the 2 looked like a tough horse on paper, but I ended up going with the 4 in Stable Duel. I thought that, again, you have a question about, like you said, will there be a speed duel? But I think that the 4 is a little bit quicker, a little bit has kind of shown the ability to be in a close match for the lead in that last race and come out on top, which I like, compared to the 2 who generally has been needing to get a clear lead in order to succeed. So that's where I gave the edge there. And plus, I mean, obviously with Stable Duel, the price. And then I thought that the outside horse guaranteed delivery made a lot of sense. And, and then you have, I mean, honestly, that's, you could make a case for most of them if you really wanted to. But I kind of was thinking like 4-2-5 in here.
Yep. That 5, I like guaranteed delivery quite a bit. I wonder if that horse wants even more ground. This is going 5.5, and it feels like guaranteed delivery wants 6, 7, maybe even a mile. Like the more this horse stretches out, the better. The pace dynamic might benefit the 5, but that's one that I feel like is going to come running late, and it's just a matter of whether it gets there or not. But from a stable duel standpoint, I was talking with Keith before we got started today. Races like race number 1 in stable duel are always really tough because you have a $10,000 horse and a $9,000 horse, and you can make a case for both of them. But the last thing you want is to pick one or the other and have them finish third, and then you've just used a huge chunk of your budget, and
you're in a big hole at that point.
Small amount of points. So that's a tough one to deal with sometimes. But hey, let us know kind of what you're thinking about in this first race on the card tonight. And again, we have about 15 minutes to get the stables ready for Stable Duel. Again, if you've never played Stable Duel before, it's a daily fantasy sports game. You can download it on your phone for free. If you have Apple, just download it from the App Store. If you have Android, I have no idea what you do, but wherever you go to get your apps, do that and get it that way. And once you get in there, you have a daily fantasy budget of $50,000. Every single horse is pegged to a price that is based on its morning line odds. So we were just talking about Bite the Bullet Bro. That is a horse that's 1-to-1 on the morning line. That horse is going to cost you $10,000. So that's going to eat up 20% of your overall stable duel budget. On the other hand, the number 4 horse that Jessica and I were talking about, Jersey Shadow, that's a horse that's 8-to-1 in the morning line, only going to cost you $3,000. Again, you can use a little bit less money. You can use both together in the race if you want, but the idea is you put together the best 10 horses throughout the card for under this $50,000 cap, enter it. We have a $5 contest. We also have a $25 contest. Bigger winnings, obviously, in the bigger contest, fewer competitors in the bigger contest as well, so more chances to win. And if you finish in the top 5 of the $25 contest, you get automatically entered into the $1,000 winner-take-all contest on Stable Duel on Manitoba Derby Day. So that's going to be a lot of fun and really a big reason for you to check it out. So listen, we got some people in the chat. You got Frank, a big fan of Shoddy's picks here. Nice. Big fan of Jess's picks, I should say. Shoddy also, the reason I said Shoddy is Shoddy's also on the 425 in this race as well. So, yeah, absolutely good to see. Armchair Handicapping, my man. Thank you for good to see him here, and got to make sure we get those people to like the video. Absolutely. 55 people here in the chat. Appreciate everybody being there. Make sure to press that like button. Helps us spread the word. And if you're not already subscribed to Trust the Profits, make sure to do that. So appreciate everybody's support. So, this is a fun one. So Keith, you got a couple of different stables entered, and maybe talk a little bit about, your thought process in developing multiple stables, because you and I are the same. So Colin is somebody who likes making his stables, and then he just repeats his stable over and over again. You and I we make tweaks to our stables and things like that and changes. So maybe explain the logic behind why you would make one stable one way and another stable maybe another way.
It's something where I look at pace a lot in the race, and I really see, like, for example, I use speed horses in some stables, and then I actually try to cover myself and use horses like off the pace that I feel like actually can get in the money, even at a bigger price. Like, that's really, I found, I know you've had more experience and you're higher on the leaderboard than me, but I would just say that's really what I've found. Like, for example, Bear Me a Moment, I know is 5-to-1 on the morning line. I actually use that horse, I think, in every single one, because of just how the running style is. And then I think the Bite the Bullet Bro and Jersey Shadow might go at it a little bit in the front. And I know this is 5.5 furlongs, but I was just really wanted to see Bear Me a Moment, I think, can at least try to get third out of 5. So, just that kind of strategy. I use some speed horses and then off the pace, and then I try to cover myself, obviously budget wise. Like, if you can't fit certain horses you like in one stable, I can cover myself, and if I really feel like it's a contender, I can use that in another. So I actually entered 2 $5 ones and one $25 one.
I love it. I got 3 $5 and 2 $25. We're going big time here to Assiniboia Downs. But here's the thing. I mean, the funny thing is that's $65, okay, altogether. How many times do you put together, or you see people put together a $65 pick 5 ticket? Or a ticket that's even much more than that. I can enjoy the entire card, all 7 races, $65. Fantastic. Now I'm going to bet pari-mutually a little bit here and there as well. But the point is, people spend a lot of money on pick 5 tickets. You can spend, a little bit of money, even a couple bucks, 25, 30, $50, and you can enjoy the entire card. That's one of the, things I enjoy about Stable Duel. So, Jessica, you are kind of the foremost pedigree expert on the channel, which may not be saying much because the rest of us are kind of blithering idiots, but you are actually legitimately a great pedigree analyst and expert. When we come up here to the Assiniboia, when you were looking through the PPs, you've looked through them the last couple of weeks now, playing some of these contests, are there certain horses that you started to kind of go, oh, that's an interesting, I mean, are there certain names that you go, oh, that's where this horse, is sending some of their crop, or I don't know about these horses, or I need to kind of learn a little bit more about these Canadian bred horses or something along those lines? Like, I'm interested in your perspective on some of the pedigree that you might have come across here at Assiniboia.
Yeah, well, honestly, I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to pedigree when it comes to Assiniboia, just because a lot of these horses, they've already raced, they've already kind of established themselves, and I just don't see it as being, it's not really a part of my handicapping pedigree generally, except for in races like the baby races or, the maiden races where you have a first-time starter, and even then, I'm just looking at the firsters just to see if there's, and I'm pretty much just looking at the dam, honestly, with a lot of these, because, I mean, in the last race, for instance, both of the firsters are by the same stallion, so I'm not really, the distinction between them is going to be, okay, what is the mare produced? So honestly, I need to still do a lot of looking at these stallions. It's interesting to see just different names, and it's interesting also to see, when you have like there's an Into Mischief at some point in the card tonight and things like that, where and this horse is running for $5,000, so or whatever, So it's just kind of fun to see how it does and doesn't matter, when it comes to at this point in a horse's career. Usually I'm just not that concerned with it, honestly.
Yeah, now that's a great point about the number of sires, or how you can see a race and it's like, good Lord, 3/4 of the race is sired by the same horse, and so that's actually relatively common up there. I think it is interesting to go and look at, you're right, the dams, and you can see how many full siblings there are because of breeding up there. If they've had success with a combination, they'll bring it right back. And so you will look into those damn pedigrees and you'll go, oh, well, there's a full sibling that's done this, this, and this. And you're right, in those baby races, that can be incredibly helpful to go, oh, well, the full siblings are really good first out, or they're not really good first out, or, whatever the case might be. And so you get that sense pretty quickly. So, it is interesting to kind of look more underneath. And I agree, that's kind of where I do my pedigree analysis largely, but I did catch that Into Mischief filly as well. Or I don't know if it's a filly or a horse, but I did catch that Into Mischief in the card. I was like, oh, because you're looking through and all of a sudden you just see like $50,000 siring fee and you're like, oh, where'd that come from? Sort of thing. That sticks out. So,
I clicked on a lot like with DRF Formulator, like the dams, and there wasn't really a lot of history on a lot of the horses I saw. Just really no, like, especially what was it, 3-year-olds and first time starters. That was a good point. You actually can see the family on that, but really a lot of the races I didn't see too much of an angle at that, so I agree.
That's why I get so excited by that last race and like the number 8 horse, because I'm like, there's a pedigree play inside.
Exactly.
It jumped off the page.
No, there was one a couple weeks back. I think it was 2 weeks ago. There was a horse that I won with in the very first race. It was a pedigree play as well, where it was the same sort of thing. It was like, oh, the full sibling was really good and won something like 3 of its first 4. And I'm like, okay, like this horse might have a chance at really winning. And there were some nice works, and the trainer, was good first out. And so, you look at all those dynamics, but it
can be really interesting with state breds and stuff like that. Like I'm familiar with like West Virginia breds is like something that I'm just really familiar with. And you start to pick up on those patterns. You start recognizing mares and things. So, I haven't gotten to that point with the Assiniboia yet. Haven't really dug into it. But a lot of times with the state breds, there's sneaky pedigree angles. It's not as simple as, oh, this is a $500,000 horse. So let's bet it because he was the most expensive 2-year-old in the race or whatever.
Right. That's not the way
the OBS March sail topper going out and blowing the doors off a field at Santa Anita.
Yeah, exactly. So no, that's a good point. So yeah, I'm while you're talking, I'm very quickly putting together a pick 3 ticket here to kick things off, and we'll see. I put together a $12 pick 3 ticket, which I will share with everyone here in the chat very quickly. So just to get things started, and remember when you're playing those horizontals, it's a 20-cent base. So when you're putting it together, you're like, it's only $1.20. Like, yes, but like the payoff's not going to be great either because you're at a 20-cent base. So,
hit the repeat button.
Yeah, exactly. Hit the repeat or just go up to $1. And so I'm doing a $1 pick 3. That is, I'm going 2, 4, 5 in race 1, and then I'm singling the 6, who I really like in race 2, and then I'm going 1, 2, 3, 7 to try to catch something maybe in the 3rd race. And so that is all told a $12 ticket, and I will live to see tomorrow if that does not hit. But if it does, hey, maybe we get a little bit of a price.
Yeah, you can get a little extra money there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I'll be playing the early pick 3, but just biding my time for that pick 4 to finally come. But we got a little bit of time. We got 4 minutes to post until race number 1, so we're already climbing up. So if you've not gotten that stable duel contest in, make sure to do that. And looking at the line right now, and I'll bring up the feed at the track so we can watch that and get ready for it. But listen, we are seeing a little bit of movement with the line. Obviously, Bite the Bullet Bro taking a little bit of money now, currently 4 to 5. You're seeing a lot of people going to Jersey Shadow, looking at the same things that we're kind of looking at. That horse has gone from 7 to 2 down, or 8 to 1 down to 7 to 2, and then Guaranteed Delivery has actually floated up a little bit from 2 to 1 to 7 to 2. Going into race number 1. So those are your 3 favorites, though, the 2, 4, 5. I know both Kurt and Stretch also mentioned the number 1 as both being in their top 3. That's a horse that, again, a little bit like the 5, will probably come running a little bit late. So we'll have to, keep an eye on all of that. So, so we're getting there. So if you guys are just, like I said, you got a couple minutes here left for Stable Duel. And I need to check to see how many stables are actually entered in these different contests.
Oh yeah, it's about to lock here. Let's see.
Yeah. So we got in the $5 contest, we got 77 people. We got a $323 pot, so that's really gone up. And then in the $25 contest, we got 50 people in the pool. That's really great.
Oh, great.
So that's a good day right there. And so a lot of fun to see all those folks playing the contest. And listen, drop your Stable Duel name in the chat if you're playing along. We love to follow you on Stable Duel because you can follow different stables. So we love to following you and making sure that we can see how you're doing as the tournament continues to go on. We'll give you updates and keep you updated throughout the night about that Stable Duel contest. So, all right, guys. Jessica, I'll go to you first. If you're putting in a bet on this race, what's your bet going to be on this one?
I think that's a great question. I feel like I would just probably at 7 to 2 just go with like a straight win bet on the 4.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you could box 2, 4, 5, but if the 2 ends up in there, you're not going to get anything back on it. So I think I would just go straight win bet on the 4.
Yep. I hear you on that. That's actually why I played the early pick 3 rather than playing just this race, because I'm like, so like I don't know if I really, because to your point, like if you start boxing things and you start adding horses to tickets, and then you're right, especially if the 2 ends up top, then you're just like, all right, well I got nothing here, I'm making $2 on this. Yeah.
You spent $6 and get back 4.
Especially
exactly.
5-horse field. I mean, if it was a larger field, I would consider boxing, but this is, you just gotta, and I definitely see your point with Jersey Shadow, but I actually just put in my bet. I know this is gonna sound stupid, but I put a $10 place bet on the 1. I
love it.
So just get it to place money at a 5. So
Never underestimate the place bet. I love it. I made a lot of money last year on a place bet on a horse. Was it Sparkle? Yeah, it's a Grand Motion horse, Sparkle Blue. Ran second at the Virginia Oaks, I want to say, at Colonial Downs last year at 44-1.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't think this horse can win, but I think this horse can finish second. And I put a $20 place bet down on that horse. That paid off nicely. And so,
man, that's great.
As we joke, we ate well that night. My mom was so proud of me because I took my mom to the track and she's like, "Oh, look at you winning money!" And so she was very proud in the way that a mother is. So,
that's great.
Love it. I love that we got the Basil Fawlty. I mentioned before I love British comedy, so love the Basil Fawlty reference and name. One of my favorite shows of all time. John Cleese. It's just good stuff. And by the way, speaking of England and the British, Royal Ascot starts tomorrow, folks, and that's going to be super exciting. We got all week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday of racing at Royal Ascot. There's a lot of huge names that even American audiences are familiar with, whether it's Modern Games, whether it's a horse like Inspiral, whether it's a horse like Broom, horses that we've seen come over here and run. But then there are just some monsters as well. Horses like Adiyar, horses like Pile Driver, horses, like American Rascal, who's coming as well. So a lot of great horses coming up. And so make sure to check out all the content we have on the channel about that. But as we get here ready to post, we bring another member of the team on, and Mark Capitan from On the Wrong Lead. How are you doing today, sir? How's everything going?
Man, it's going good. I had the day off from work, so I was outside all day, and now I'm back to little Assiniboia, so it's all good, man.
It is all good, although I will say we cannot just flat bet Tony Whitehall in the first race because he is not riding, and that is devastating blow. Yeah. So
that's great.
But no, Mark, you're a big fan of this track. You play this track. Do you play this track every week, like every day, pretty much?
I pretty much played every day of the meet. Yeah, it's a track that just sort of makes sense. You don't see this big CAW swings. You don't see you do see late moves, but I think the CAW money is just not here. So it's a track that just kind of makes sense. There's a lot of angles to follow. I know, Matt, you were on the Wrong Lead this past Thursday, and we are talking about how well synth shippers have done. Doesn't matter if they're coming out of Golden Gate, coming out of Turfway, coming out of Woodbine, anywhere that any of the synth shippers are coming have just been running really well, and you've been getting prices on them. So there's a lot of interesting angles you can chase like that, and it seems like these horizontals pay really well, and that's how I like to approach things.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the all-weather to dirt transition is fantastic here. Playing that angle has worked very effectively. Golden Gate shippers are, I think, winning at like a 60% rate. Turfway Park, always very good. Woodbine, even though those horses are coming off the layoff, they seem to be running very well also. So there's a lot of live kind of all-weather to dirt transitions that you're seeing here. So
get your fitness on the synthetic track and then come out on the dirt, and it's easy for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. You see certain trainers, and I think Mark, you brought this point up when I was on the Wrong Lead. There are certain I think Wendy Anderson's one of those trainers who goes out to she goes out to California and she'll get a couple of Golden Gate horses that are running like optional claimer 10s. And, maybe starter allowance, 15s or something like that, and then bring them in here and put them in like a claiming 7,500 and just they blow the barn doors off the competition. Yep. And so it's always fun to get on those horses the first time because you get at least a modicum of a price the first time, and then the next time it's 1 to 5.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there was one of those that I think was last Wednesday, and it was a horse that made all the sense. I think it was a Turfway shipper that came up.
Yep.
We had Whitehall up, wound up going off at like 5-1, and you're like, wait a second, this is like a 38% barn that this horse moved into with a 30-something% jock, and I'm getting 5-1. This feels criminal,
Yeah. Yeah. So Frank, just to answer Frank's question, there is no promo code for Stable Duel. So Stable Duel is a free app. You can just, download it on your phone. the contests you have to pay for, but here's the thing. There's a lot of free contests throughout the week. So one of the things I know a lot of people have done is they start just by playing those free contests and then winning a couple of those. And that's how you start building up your bankroll. And then you have the money to enter a $3 contest, a $5 contest, a $7 contest throughout the week. So, that's kind of one way to play. Another way to play is just, like I said, a lot of low dollar contests on the app. Whether it's like a $5, Jessica raising her hand there, those low dollar contests are a lot of fun and a great way to learn as well. You can deposit, $20, $25 and you can have a lot of fun playing a lot of different games and again, build your bankroll that way as well.
Yeah, one nice thing about those really low spend tournaments is that if you buy into a tournament for $5, you get an entire day of racing for that price. So you can say, hey, if you're learning a new track and you're like, geez, I want to kind of get a feel for this place. I want to play it a few days and I don't want to spend a ton. It's just a great way to do it. Real low spend and you get a lot of a lot of bang for your buck. You're involved. You have the potential of that nice payout, but you're not not spending your regular spend on a normal day.
Right. No, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the best things about Stable Duel. And then you could, you're going to spend $5, more than probably $5 on one race. So for the whole night, I mean, that's a great spend. And, really, you can see a lot of action for $5. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, they're getting ready to let them go in race number 1. We're going to turn things over to the live feed here and turn the volume on and turn it over to Kurt. Good luck, everyone, in race number 1.
The field is set. They're at the post.
Oh, 3 looks up. Now 4's acting up. Everybody's a little fractious.
Yeah.
Little jostling in the starting gate. And they're off. From the inside, Bite the Bullet Bro. Away alertly with Jersey Shadow. In between horses. Guaranteed Delivery on the outside. 3 wide. And a length and a half back. It's Bear Me a Moment. And Double Time racing as a pair. A blanket over this field. 2 lengths from front to back. And Bite the Bullet Bro. Nursed on the front end through an opening quarter of 23 seconds. Now opens up by 3/4 of a length. Jersey Shadow asking for more between horses. Guaranteed Delivery 3 wide and all out behind them. Bear Me a Moment and Double Time. They hit the head of the lane and it's Bite the Bullet Bro spinning out of the turn with the lead by 3. They have 46 seconds and Bite the Bullet Bro digging in from here. The battle is on for second. Bite the Bullet Bro, long gone. Gonna win by 7. Guaranteed Delivery, second best. Very close for third between Bear Me a Moment and Double Time.
There you go.
Kind of how you want your 2 to 5 to win, right?
Yeah. No, if you're going to be 2 to 5, that's how you need to win at 2 to 5. No, very nice effort there from Bite the Bullet Bro, who, I think, demonstrated that first time out was, just a lack of conditioning because that horse really stopped in the lane first time out. Just, you could tell was super fatigued and ended up getting beat by 7.5 lengths first time out. This time came back at the same level. There's just better fitness there. Not as much pace pressure. Obviously, Jersey Shadow applied a little bit, but even those fractions for Assiniboia were pretty, pretty tame and was able to get the job done there very easily. Yeah. You saw the odds get dropped. So, yeah.
I would say I know I use a lot of time for him here. I think it works really well this track. And if you look at that horse just had a massive pace advantage in this field and was able to go 3/4 of a second slower to the first call than did at that last out. So I wonder if they just went a little crazy fast at the level in that last race and just kind of imploded and was able to save a little. And then obviously top of the stretch, it was pretty much over.
Yeah. And one of the things I will say is I was talking to Keith about this before we got started, but there was such a strong speed bias early in this meet and throughout the meet. I mean, Assiniboia in general has a pretty strong speed bias that you want to be up on the lead. And it felt like there were a couple of weeks where everybody realized that and decided, what would be really great is if we all go to the lead. And then what happened was all the horses that were like right off the pace were like, we're going to just stroll right on by you. And so it kind of reversed. So it's one of those things where when there's like an overcorrection for that, I think there's, that's where you can start seeing those closers doing well. But on a normal day at a normal track, I mean, this horse felt very, very logical. And we're still alive in the pick 3 with the 2 to 5 horse up top.
All
So,
right.
we
Played it for $1, right? So
we may or may not make money on this, but yes, we did play it. Play it. We upped the 20 cent to $1 for the pick 3. So having fun with that. But order of finish, bite the bullet, bro. Then guarantee delivery, bear me a moment, and double time. Jersey Shadow finishing 5th. But again, those 3rd, 4th, 5th were all right kind of next to each other and kind of in a cluster. And even guaranteed delivery wasn't that far ahead as the second place horse. So really kind of a couple lengths separated 2 through 5 in this particular race. But listen, if you use the 2 in Stable Duel, you're going to rack up a fair amount of points. Going to probably get, Kurt's call, probably 7 lengths. Going to get about 67 points there. So, yep.
I used Bite the Bullet Bro and the $25 one. So that was actually the only one I used them in. So that's good stuff.
Oh, there you go. Well,
the one.
That's good.
I don't know if the one got 3rd. I'm hoping Bear Me a Moment.
The one got 3rd. Yeah, Bear Me a Moment got 3rd.
Good.
Yeah. So, So official results are up there for race number 1. And Rodney asks whether or not anybody is playing Stable Duel, Royal Ascot on Stable Duel tomorrow. You're dang right. I'm going to wake up bright and early and get my stable entered. Or I might do it tonight, but I'll probably do it tomorrow morning just in case there are scratches. But absolutely, we got a couple of pieces of content for Royal Ascot as well. Mark, are you guys doing anything for On the Wrong Lead with Royal Ascot later in the week?
We'll probably do some, to probably talk about some of the later in the week stakes stuff, as we go along. We haven't really planned it out yet. I know Caleb and I normally play a lot of Ascot. It's a track that both of us really enjoy. So I would imagine we'll put out some content related around it, but we haven't planned it out fully yet.
Yep. Gotcha. Tim checking in from the chat. What did he miss? You missed a 2 to 5 favorite winning in the first race. Not too much exciting there. It kind of went the way the form showed with the 2-5 finishing 1-2. But Bite the Bullet plays $280 to win. Guaranteed delivery pays $240 to place, and Bear Me a Moment plays $330 to show with double time, rounding out that superfecta. So those are your results for race number 1. And we're back. And so, like I said, we're still alive. And now we're going to, talk a little bit more about race number 2. But before we do, Keith, are you getting excited for Ascot? Are you going to be playing the contest tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely take a look. And, I have to do a little bit of, a little research, especially on these international horses. But, I think I'm going to take a swing and see where I'm going to get at and, try to fit in some prices, especially these wide open with so many, competitive horses that have won some great races. I mean, you could really find some value, I think, especially in these big fields. So I'm going to take a swing at that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's a horse tomorrow. I always struggle with pronouncing his name because I always want to call him Mostadef, and it's not Mostadef. It's Mutsabek. In race number 1, who is a 12-1 on the morning line. That horse would be like 1-9 if he came over here to the United States to run in races. And so you're right. You can find these horses because they're running against Modern Games and Inspiral and these huge names over there that like the third choice on the board because it's a 20-horse field is like 12-1. So from a Stable Duel standpoint, it's awesome to play. And again, just to let people know, if you're interested in playing Royal Ascot tomorrow on Stable Duel, there's a $5 game. So if you just want to dip your toe in, go for it. There's also a $25 game. So it's just like Assiniboia tonight with a 5 and 25. So Jessica, now I'm curious, do you play, do you pay attention to international racing a lot? Are you going to be playing tomorrow at Royal Ascot or following along?
I'll be following along. I don't think I'm going to play it. I'm not confident in my handicapping with those European races, but I'm definitely going to be checking it out, following along, watching. I don't follow international racing all that much, but I enjoy the big days,
Yeah. Now the big days are what makes it fun. And it is one of those where, the pomp and majesty of everything
it's beautiful track there. Yeah.
It's fantastic. And then I'm an Anglophile. I like the Brits. And to see them and to see the majesty of it all, and when what used to be Queen Elizabeth II's carriage coming in and, things like that. And you see the arrival of, King Charles now and Queen Consort Camilla and things like that. So it's, it's just great. It's great to see kind of all of those dynamics at play. So always love to, watch those big race days internationally. And Mark, I know you have often talked about, and I think we talked about it last week actually, was the inside outside bias at Ascot, that basically you want to be on the rails, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to be on the rails at Ascot, and it's more pronounced in the straight races. You'll actually see the fields kind of diverge. You very often get the two fields where they'll go, and it's something, isn't it? Somebody, if you're watching a lot of American racing, you're like, what on earth is going on here? It almost is like two races going at the same time. But those horses that are very inside drawn and outside drawn tend to do really well. The thing you have to pay attention to, again, as an American horse racing fan, we're used to seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, they're in the order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the rail out. In Europe, the numbers don't necessarily correspond with the post position. So you just have to have that in the back of your head that, okay, I have to find the horse that, the one hole isn't in there. The one horse isn't in the one hole, for instance.
Right. No, that's one thing. Asian racing is the same way, and even
Australia
the Middle East.
too, right?
Yeah, basically everywhere but here. It's kind of like that. Maidan, I think, is like that as well, where they load them in, non-sequentially from a standpoint of their assigned numbers, and because I think over there, I want to say they assign numbers based on like alphabetical order to some extent. That you just like, if a horse starts with A, you get 1, and you kind of work out from there, and then post position is a little bit different. So. Yeah, it is interesting, and to watch, you're right, those straight sprints in particular, where there are just two columns diverging on the two sides of the track, and it's a little bit challenging just because of the camera positions to really be able to tell which of the two columns is actually ahead of the other. And you're like, is the near column ahead because of just the angle, or are they really ahead, or are they not ahead? And you really have to rely on the track announcer to figure that out. But that's huge challenge over there.
Yeah, so also you have to pay attention to the weather there as well. It's very often that you'll get an absolute bog one day, and it might be, I think, what was it, a year or two ago, where it was just a mile deep soft. It was just crazy soft turf. So you have to be, you do have to pay attention to the weather there. It's very often that kind of with an understanding that how they grade the turf in Europe is very different than how we grade it here, and sort of they have a lot of understanding that they may run on soft turf, which would be something that we would 100% be rained off from. It's just we would never run on it. So definitely some different grading, and if you do see an American horse shipping over, they're at somewhat of a disadvantage, just given the especially on some of those softer goings.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to let people know, because I would not be a horse racing fan if I did not have the Ascot race course up on my phone to look at this. There is a 100% chance of rain tomorrow. Now, here's the thing. It's just going to be morning showers. It looks like it's going to be raining basically from about 5 a.m. to about noon, with the worst of it coming down early, 7, 8 o'clock. And then the rest of the week does look lovely. Of course, it's England, so just wait 5 minutes, it'll change. And so, that's something to keep in mind. But I do think you're right that American horses are at a disadvantage, particularly if it's a softer ground. Because they don't mind it. And there's also, when you go through and look at the PPs, I was struck by how many horses, and I forget if it was at Newmarket or Newbury, but how many of the horses, their first run back in 2023 was over extremely soft ground. And you saw a lot of really big name horses turn in kind of quizzical efforts. And you just go, they just need to get back on even a good surface. They'll be fine. That just produced some anomalous results.
Yeah, there was one of the classic distance, or what we would consider a classic distance, mount a quarter races. And I can't remember which one it was last year that they ran over. It was referred to as soft, but from what I was heard, it was an absolute bog. And every single horse that came out of that race bounced to the moon the next start. And they just needed a start. And it was one of those things, a lot of those horses shipped to the United States. And you would see this, absolute bog start, and then they would have a terrible second. You're like, oh, the horse is just off form. No, the horse is back in form. It was just a matter of that start took a lot out of them. You had to know that. One thing I will say with Ascot, if it is a very heavy rain, there's quite a bit of crown to the front stretch. So if you kind of that 6 furlong late stretch, and it does produce the bias probably becomes more pronounced, but you'll also see a thing where if it's very heavy rain, they will get standing water on the rail. So on both inside and outside rails, some horses don't like that. So just something to pay attention to.
Absolutely. No, this is good information to have. And like I said, make sure to consider playing Royal Ascot tomorrow in Stable Duel. I have a video that I just posted earlier today where I do a very quick kind of overview and preview of all 19 group stakes races from Tuesday through Saturday. And just give, it's a little bit of just a refresher for North American audiences in some cases, but also with a little bit of handicapping mixed in, try to give out some prices, some horses to consider, trying not to just pick Aidan O'Brien, Charlie Appleby horses, and John and Thaddy Gosden, but it's a challenge because those guys have great horses, and so it's one of those things. But listen, thanks everybody for tuning in. We got 70 people hanging out here in the chat tonight, so thank you so much. Wow. And that's just on YouTube, not even counting Twitter. So make sure to press that like button here on YouTube. Means a lot to us, helps us spread the word about what's going on. And listen, let's transition a little bit to the second race here. Let's go from talking Ascot to talking some state-bred maiden claimer 7500s. And let's talk about race number 2 at Assiniboia, going 5 furlongs. Like I said, state-bred maiden claiming $7,500. And for me, a lot of times it's a go-to angle that I use in the United States, but I think it's even more pronounced here in Assiniboia. I just look at the horse that's coming in from the class drop. And so for me, I just went to the 6, Sugar Daddy Jack, who's coming in second off the bench, coming in from a maiden special weight, dropping in class, has Antonio Whitehall aboard with Shelley Brown as the trainer. That was kind of where I started and stopped my analysis of this one in terms of my top pick. But Jess, I'll turn it over to you. What was your thoughts on this race number 2?
Well, my top pick was the 7, but I ended up on the 5 with Stable Duel. Hoping that that was really just a trainer angle, which is something that I don't usually lead on a whole lot. But from 6 starts, Devin Gittins has won 50% second time out. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that even though, the 3 ran a better race in that same race and got beat by the 7 who ran second in that race, the hope is here that with the different jockey also that they're winning at 38% at the meet. Yeah. So I'm hoping that's a good sign for this horse to put some improvement up there. He did show a little bit of pace, wasn't too far off of it. That again, the 3 probably was quicker early, which is something you want to see for a horse coming back. But as far as just Stable Duel and balancing the odds and how much money I had left, this was one of the races I kind of left till the end to see how I went through and what I had. And I was like, you know what, I don't mind this horse. So that was kind of where I ended up there. I do think that the 7 looks like speed here, and so that's why I liked the 7 on top. But and the 6 definitely makes sense on the class drop.
Yeah, no, the 7 makes a lot of sense, I think, as well, and does have that early speed pace scenario. Mark was mentioning time form earlier. The one thing that is scary about that horse is how bad the late pace figures are on that one. So, if it's able to get and it's able to carve out an easy lead like we saw in race number 1, then might be able to hold on. If there's a little bit more pace pressure, we'll see. All Terrain Jane, the number 3 horse, was a little interesting for me. That was a horse you mentioned, showed a little bit more, flashed just a little bit more speed in that first effort, first time out. Another Shelley Brown horse. I thought that horse had an opportunity, much like the 5. I think both of those horses have an opportunity to take a step forward this time out. So, I think the 5 makes a lot of sense. Keith, where did you end up going in this one?
So, with the 6, I know they say the biggest drop in racing, what is maiden special weight to maiden claiming.
Right.
With that said, I actually am going to try to beat the 6. I have the 6 second, and I'm all over All Terrain Jane, the 3.
Okay.
And just the points that you touched on. This horse, showed nice speed on debut. Was an inside and tight on the rail. I mean, that's a really tough spot in a debuting horse, and I just was impressed that this horse actually still held on for 4th after all that, and. At 6-1, I used this horse in Stable Duel, and just the points you touched on, and for 3rd, I actually went with the 5, Jessica's 5 Shotgun 1. I watched a lot of replays, and with this one, I really saw that. I don't know if you guys are a big switching leads angle, but this horse actually kind of switched leads early, I thought, and was kind of maybe learning and. finished behind the 3, but like you said, Matt, I really think that the 3 and the 5 really could step up this race. And with the 7, is definitely going to show speed. I just was a little concerned about the outside post there, and so I was going to try to beat the 7 in the spot.
Yeah, no, I think there's, always an opportunity to take a step forward second time out. First to second is always when you usually see the biggest progression from horses. So, I think both the 3 and 5 make sense in that regard. Mark, where were you looking in this one?
Yeah, Matt, you and I saw this very much the same, kind of going for the class. Everybody else has kind of mentioned as well, the class dropper. I mean, that's where I'm going to go first. There's one class dropper in the field, and I think that horse is, that's the 6, Sugar Daddy Jack. It makes a ton of sense in here. Now, the only, there isn't a ton of pace in here, given these shorter distance races. And, I do think that the 7 gets all sorts of loose. And, I know Jessica had mentioned the 7. I think actually a couple of you guys mentioned the 7. The other thing I thought interesting about the 7 was this is the only older horse going versus the 3-year-olds. A lot of times when you get in these chronic maidens, you're getting a 5-year-old. And I mean, obviously a 5-year-old hasn't broken their maiden in a bunch of starts. That's always a scary thing. But second start of the 5-year-old campaign, that last race was clearly the best of his career. So, that there's every chance that maybe he gets real brave on the front end, obviously getting a very good local jock in Carino up. So, you're not getting a huge price or anything, but I thought that was the other horse that was interesting. So I have him kind of A-B myself.
Yep. And one of the things I will say about Sugar Daddy Jack is that maiden special weight race that he came out of has come back particularly live, as Private Frank came back to win a very impressive race last week, and Kentucky Jack came back to win the 3rd place horse and came back to win a maiden special weight next time out. So you saw a couple of winners emerge from that race. So I thought, obviously Sugar Daddy Jack was a well-beaten 5th that day, but still it was promising to see those 2 come back and run so well. And it should be pointed out that Private Frank absolutely blitzed that field that day and won by 9.5 lengths. So everybody else's order of finish is going to look super skewed. So yes, Sugar Daddy Jack finished 5th by 11.5 lengths, but really was about 2 lengths off of second place in that regard. And then again, to see the 3rd place horse come back and win and break its maiden next time out was impressive. So, that is, that's a little bit of a look here at race number 2. I think I want to say I used a little bit of All Terrain Jane, but I think I used Sugar Daddy Jack pretty heavily in all of my picks for stable duels. So, get ready for this horse to finish last, and for my night to be over on stable duel.
You just put him in the winner's circle, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I'll try to do a reverse jinx on this horse. So, all right. Well, then we are getting close to post time. So let me pull up the let me pull up the stream here on our stream.
Look who's here.
And so, and do we have another? Oh, we do. We got the man, the myth, the legend. Sean Patrick Nolan is here.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I got my power back. I'm ready to have some fun at Assiniboia.
Love it. So we got 2 minutes to post here. Now, Sean, I've not talked to you about this ahead of time in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to assume that you're on Antonio Whitehall in this race.
Antonio Whitehall. Exactly.
On the 6.
That's shocking, huh?
That is your angle, my friend. You are all over just flat betting Tony Whitehall. So I love it.
It's just the Whitehall Express here, baby. Exactly.
I used a bomb later in the card in one of my stable duels for Whitehall, and just found it interesting that he stays on the same horse again. I think it was 20-1 morning line or something like that.
Yeah. There's no way you get 20-1 because I also like that horse. So
then he gets the best turned out award,
25-1.
Yeah, there you go. That is one of those things. I mean, it's funny when you start playing Assiniboia a lot, you do get to see, it's the same effects you see every track, right? A bunch of people were complaining over the weekend, Irad gets bet down so much at Naira, and then he promptly goes out and wins 5 races on Saturday. And it's like, well, there's a reason he gets overbet at Naira, and he wins a lot. And, there's a reason Tony Whitehall gets overbet all the time here. It's because he wins a lot. And, and it's interesting, Mark, you brought up Carreno And I feel like that's a jockey that was super hot last year. I think he and Jared Brown, it felt like were winning everything up at Assiniboia last year. And they were at like a 35% clip. And this year they're a lot cooler. And so that's something that I've noticed. And I'm not saying that I play against them now, but it's just something that I've noticed during this meet. That Tony Whitehall is the one who's super hot.
Well,
so
there's also some trainers that both of them ride for who have been somewhat cold. So I think it's just a matter of like Shelley Brown. I mean, she's only at 10%. She's normally like what she on the in the past. Yeah, I mean, she's showing her 10% in the past year, but normally she has it does much better to Assiniboia. So I think there's certain jocks who get mounts from certain trainers, and those trainers have been a little cold. So those jocks numbers are going to be a little cold. It's still somewhat early in the meet. I realize most of these jockeys have 50 or 60 starts at this point, but it'll kind of return to the mean at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so I'm playing the. Obviously, I have the 6 singled in the pick 3 in this race. But Jess, I'll go to you. Are you putting a win bet on the 7 here in this one?
No, I'm not. I'm passing this race. But if I were betting, I'd probably throw a win bet on the. Maybe just throw a show bet on the 5 at 22-1. Pick a few bucks and get to the board.
It's a nice price.
Yeah.
Actually, I might actually do that.
Hey,
there you go.
Real. Wasn't planning on spending a whole lot tonight, but we'll go for it.
Hey,
22-1.
Price is right.
Yeah, 21-1. Go for it. So, Keith, how are you betting this one vertically?
Yeah, I was just looking at the field here. I mean, I was interested on the 3 who's I'm getting a nice price right now, 12-1. Might just go with the 3 across the board win play show bet. That's what I'm thinking right now. It's like actually I'm got a equine edge up here. It says it's the long shot, so that's helpful to see. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. And Mark, are you betting this race vertically at all, or are you just playing horizontally?
Just playing horizontally. I have a double that pays out to the 6 here, and then I have a pick 3 that I need the 6 or the 7 to stay alive in.
All right, very good. And then Sean, are you playing this one at all?
No.
Or are you just watching? You're watching. Well, you just got here, so yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
Smart.
I'm just watching. 8 to 5.
Man, exactly.
I'm watching.
So I love it. So we got. It's post time. They're on their way to the gate. And like I said, we'll turn on the volume. But I want to say thank you to everybody who's tuning in. We got 75 people here on the chat. That's awesome. While you're watching, make sure to press that like button here on YouTube. Really helps us out a whole bunch. And make sure to throw all these folks on here a follow on social media. Keith at Each and Every Stride. Jessica at her handle Starry Day 93. SPN Nation 74 for Sean Patrick Nolan. And of course, Mark Capitan at 2_turns, and you got to find all of Mark's stuff at Wrong Lead on the Wrong Lead, which is wrong_lead. So always appreciate Mark coming in, checking out, hanging out. This is payback because Josh does such great planning. He usually writes to me 20 minutes before you guys go live and goes, "Hey, can you join us tonight for something?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." But it's nice for you to come on well in advance. So appreciate that. But because I got to record something with Josh tomorrow night too. I just realized, crap, I got to change up my schedule now. So
that 1 hour of sleep is gone.
Yeah, it really is now. I mean, I'm screwed out of my sleep now. I got nothing
like
tomorrow.
A president's schedule, like it's all mapped out, like lunch break. But then you
Exactly.
I got to walk the dog between 9 and 9:15. I got to, there's we got to get this stuff ready. So. Listen, we got it's post time now. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I think this is one of our biggest folks that we've had in the chat. This is a lot of fun with all the people here in the chat hanging out this week. Appreciate everybody coming in and checking it out. So we got a bunch of people sharing their bets in the chat as well. Charles B playing the 1-5 over the 6-7-1-5 in this one, and got a lot of folks. Tim Hughes is playing the ice cold try 6-2-7. So wish everybody all the best of luck on their
Tim.
Exactly. On their bets. Good luck, especially if you have the 6 up top. And Jeff Brandis likes the 7 over the 6. So I agree that 7 lifetime race last time out could take a step forward. But Listen, we'll turn things over to here to Kurt
Oh.
on the feed as they get ready for race number 2. Your current favorites are both the 6 and the 7, both going off at 9-5, followed by the 2 at 3-1, who we've not really talked much about. And then the 3 and 5 are 2 long shots that I think we all have a little bit of interest in different capacities. But good luck with everyone in their bets. And like I said, we'll turn things over to Kurt now for the call.
That's 2 left to load. The favorite, Sugar Daddy Jack. Wizard of Menlo Park, fractious in the gate. And just waiting on I'm a Star to the outside. Field is set. They're at the post. I'm a Star almost in. Now he's in.
Nope. Oh, the 7, really reared up there.
I'm a Star, fractious in the starting gate. And they're off. Breaking a little slow was Wizard of Menlo Park and Keystone Cash. Shotgun 1 quickly. Goes out to command the early advantage by 3/4 of a length. On the inside, all-terrain Jane. Dot and Dash. Close up early in 3rd, Sugar Daddy Jack. The favorite back in 4th. Then it's I'm a Star, a gap of 6 more. The Keystone Cash and Wizard of Menlo Park, the early trailer. 23 seconds, the opening quarter. Now Dot and Dash goes up to battle with Shotgun 1 as they hit the head of the lane, trying to come up the rail. All-terrain Jane. Dot and Dash now takes over the lead. Back to 2nd, Shotgun 1. Sugar Daddy Jack trying to make a late rally, but this is all Dot and Dash. Gonna win by 4. Shotgun 1 is 2nd. 3rd's gonna go to Keystone Cash.
Well, there you go. Dot and Dash, who, okay, I guess we can do that. This is a horse that did not even record a speed figure last time, which was last year, and comes back. And first time out, this is a horse that showed absolutely 0 speed. Clearly grew up a little bit, had some halfway decent works leading up to this race, but to run that well on debut, pretty impressive. And this was a horse, I want to say that this horse was actually scratched out of a previous race at the meet thus far, because I remember I had notes about this horse for a previous race that he was going to debut in this year, and ended up not running. And so kind of interesting. This horse now came back. This is Bree Mott's in heaven right now because Chavian Chow, the jockey, just won, and she loves nothing more than dropping the Chow gifts from the Hangover. So
is this a case of they knew at 6-1?
It feels like it, doesn't it? I didn't even notice that horse got bet down that much.
And I mean, maybe bled first out, adding Lasix, trying to, in hindsight, figure out why people liked this horse at 6-1, because I pretty much saw the first race and just immediately went right past that horse.
Yeah.
I'll take 2nd from Shotgun 1,
look
though.
at
I went up to
Jessica.
30-1. I'll take that.
Hello. Great job, Jess.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, if only that 4, but I'll cash my show bet. We'll see what it pays.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, you got
Whitehall out.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
The 3 showed good speed and then kind of backed out, but I did use the 5 in one stable duel, so I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So no, Dot and Dash gets the win there, and you're right, a little bit of a they knew. I mean, from 20-1 morning line down to 6-1 for trainer Michael Rowe, who's got a little bit of success off the claim. This used to be a horse in Tiffany husband's barn, trained there, but like I said, a horse had a couple of decent 5 furlong works. Going back a couple of works, the June 6th work, 101 and 4, and the May 24th work, which was a 102-4. And not bad. And for Assiniboia, actually pretty good. I think it was second out of 10, second out of 6, both those days. Still a little surprising, but clearly the horse really grew up over the last year and got a lot of speed, because that horse didn't show any speed, and that horse made a dominant move at the top of the stretch. So,
big improvement.
Yeah, absolutely big improvement. And
pretty surprising. Yeah, then really bet down. That was something else.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody in the chat hit the 6. Let us know. If so, first round's on you. That was
anyone who has this super, exactly.
Oh yeah, who has the try? That's what I want to see. Who's got the try
yeah.
in this one? Sweet mother of Lord, just doing it all probably would have paid huge. My God, that's one where a caveman ticket would have been all right. So yeah, geez. So there it is. So the $1 try pays $3,220.
Wow.
How do you like that?
Wow, Jessica, did you place
across the board?
show bet?
I just placed the show. I should have.
When
he got out of the gate
really
on top,
good,
I was like, "Oh, I should have bet across the board. He could win."
It's a great show.
But yeah, I mean, I'll take that for $2.
Yeah,
Exactly. $12.30 to show, so $15.60 to win for Dot and Dash, $28.20 to place for Shotgun 1, and $13 to show for Keystone Cash. Again, that exacta pays $1 exacta pays $154. $1 try pays $3,220, and the 20-cent superfecta pays $2,561. So, hello, some prices there in race number 2. That was a big time effort there, obviously, in that race for Dot and Dash, coming back from the layoff and making 2023 debut. So, all right. Mark, it's back to the drawing board for Mark and I.
That was rough.
That was less than ideal. And the 6 didn't break bad. When the 7 didn't break well, I was like, okay, I thought, we're an easy streak because the 7 didn't break that well. I thought, the 6 is going to have a nice run of it. And then I saw the 3 kind of range up on the inside to confront the 5, and I thought, perfect. These two are going to wear each other out. And then Dot and Dash just decided, I'm going to just be life is good. Fantastic. So that horse just was much the best on that particular day. So congrats to the connections there, obviously. And anybody who had Dot and Dash, heck, even to, and as well as the other horses, everybody cashed if you had any part of the board in that ticket. So,
and that's 2 races in a row where the 1 has made it out safely. So that's a good.
The 1 angle is back now.
The 1, Sean, last week we had a devil of a time with the 1, and that was one of the just most bizarre things where on one night you had the number 1 horse scratch in 2 of the races, was like a gate scratch.
1 didn't make it to the gate. The other one was in the gate.
In the gate, was so fractious, backed out, was scratched. And then another time, another one was fractious too, and didn't get out or hopped at the start or something.
Yeah, it hopped at the start.
And I was like, good Lord, just what are we doing with this number 1 post? Like, are there ghosts there? Like, what's happening? And so it was just the number 1 hole. Man, that was rough. So David Barista, who is an awesome dude, you and me both, my man. I'm going to go to sleep tonight. I'm going to have that number 1. I'm going to have that superfecta in my dreams tonight.
Crazy.
Hopefully, that would be a good dream if I had that one.
Looks like only 3% of people in Stable Duel had the winner.
All right.
You found it. I was looking for it. All right.
Impressive.
And only 3% on the 1. 16% had the 5. So
okay,
wasn't alone there, but that's all right.
Yeah, but
I saw Joe's comment in there. Interesting. He said I should have known when Sean didn't play Whitehall. I actually didn't like the way he was warming up on the track.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did not like the way he looked, like in terms of to bet him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He still ran well for 4th, but I just didn't like the way he was kind of warming up there,
Yeah.
And
Well, we should mention, Cindy brought this up right as we started the stream. It is very hot and humid up there today.
Yeah,
so it's 86 degrees, a lot of heat, a lot of humidity. So, some of these horses may get a little washed out. I know our own Colin Sheehan's going to be joining a little bit later. He's going to be giving out an award for the horse that looks sleepy at 11 o'clock at night. And it may need to run earlier in the card when a little bit more awake. But we'll be, like I said, paying attention to, that in terms of those track conditions. And you're absolutely right, Sean, that, that's going to be one where something to pay attention to throughout the night.
Yeah.
How just horses look warming up, that sort of thing. So, good to know. Listen, we're going to keep rolling along, and I'll keep everybody updated once they update the second race in Stable Duel. I don't know if they've done that yet or not, but once they do update the second race in Stable Duel, I will let everyone know kind of where we stand and who's in the lead and who's doing what. So, but in the meantime, let's move on to race number 3, Assiniboia Downs, optional claimer 10. Going 6 furlongs on the dirt. Obviously, we only have dirt. I don't know why I'm just so used to saying that. But Sean, as the newest member of the chat, we'll start with you. Where did you go in race number 3? Who do you like here?
I went with the 3 and the 7 here.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of a different thing here. I'm trying to bring my thing up here. I apologize. But I thought this was an interesting value race in terms of getting a little bit of a different, McKay, I did like the way this horse had run. If you look at him, the stakes races coming back was definitely a strong. It's a great place for him to start tonight. Shady's had some good success so far with Carl Anderson, and this was a 17 mile, and he's won 9 of 17 in the money with him. So I thought he was an interesting value play at 8-1. Obviously 9-2 right now. The public's kind of agreeing. And then I just went for an upset with maybe sometime Cumberbatch, and I just kind of attributed to they didn't really bet him. I know Ronaldo and Wendy do well. He just didn't fire at all, and they didn't bet him at all. And obviously not betting them right now, which is worried me. But just for a price, I didn't love the favorites in this race, so I tried for a little stable blue value with the 3 and the 7. But I like, but the 3 was my top pick.
Yeah, I like that 3 quite a bit as well. That was one that I had my eye on also, that I used in quite a few, I think almost all of my Stable Duel contests. Jessica, where did you go in race number 3? Where did your eye get drawn to?
Well, I kind of had an opposite opinion of the favorites. I thought the favorite looked tough in here. I thought the 2 looked like a horse who was going to be, tactically placed and be in a good position and has the best, figures coming in. I did use the 3 as well in Stable Duel. I went 2-3 in here. The only concern I have with the 3 is that his worst race in that last cycle last year was the debut off the layoff. So I'm wondering if the horse might get played a bit off of those coming off that class drop with the stakes races. So that was a little bit of a concern there. But for the price at Stable Duel, I thought the horse could definitely hit the board. I thought the 1 made some sense in here as well, just based on speed figures. Didn't really have a very clever opinion in here for me.
No, sometimes
it's a great opinion.
Sometimes not overthinking things is the way to go. And by the way, we got to give a shout out. We got Carson in the chat. Carson checking in. Appreciate Carson checking in the chat. So thanks for checking us out tonight, Carson, and hope you're doing well. Keith, where did you go in this one? What were your kind of, from a Stable Duel perspective, from a top pick perspective, what were your thoughts in this one?
It's actually interesting you say it like that, because I think my top pick, I'm not sure if I really used them in too many stables, but I think I used in at least one. But I like the 6, actually, Unbroken Star here. And I watched the replay on June 7th. This horse was 5 wide around the first turn. It's actually not, well, you don't want to be there in any track, but especially Assiniboia with that inside. You really want to be closer to the rail. I just felt like the jockey, this was actually the first start back at Assiniboia. Really just didn't really ask this horse that much. And I think the cutting back to the more preferred distance, and has races at Turf Paradise that actually match up pretty well with these. And so I gave the 6 a look on top. And then I know this horse actually pretty well, the number 2, Hard West, just from Parks and Monmouth Circuit. And it's always a tough trier. I mean, had the 12 post last time. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
really see too many 12 horse fields at
don't.
Assiniboia.
right,
So
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
this was a good effort facing a good horse or deputy. So I mean, I thought the 2 was going to be pretty tough too. And then let's see who else I went with here. And then the third was actually number 3, McCaig. So I actually, it's funny, I looked at the form cycle too, and I was a little nervous first start back off the layoff, but I really, you know, at 8-1, I think a lot of stable duel players use this horse. So especially for under. So I'm going to put that horse through.
Absolutely. Mark, where did you end up going in this one? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think like most everybody, I think the favorite in here is going to be, makes a lot of sense, going to be pretty tough in the 2 hard west. You know, and Whitehall's really has this horse figured out. He's been really good on him both times he's been on him. I am very much against the 3 McCaig. This is a horse, you know, I think that Jessica mentioned that this horse is, you know, has not fired historically well first off the layoff. The other thing is, I think this is just too sharp for this horse. The horse's best trips have been going 2 turns up here, and you know, this is obviously a 1-turn race. He comes from way out of it, and it looks like speed's been pretty darn good tonight so far. So I just think he's going to be up against it. You know, if he ended up short, he'd be a bigger bet against. I thought he might actually take some money. But the other horse I'm really interested in here, and I'm sure that you are as well, Matt, is the 5 horse, Browning Island. This is the Woodbine shipper, and I will keep beating this trend until it stops working. Also happens that the jock is 38% up for these connections, and you know, trainers 21% first in the barn. The pedigree does not scream synthetic to me. This seems like this is more of a dirt pedigree, so I think this is a horse that may finally be getting the right surface. So I thought Browning Island was pretty darn interesting, especially if I can get around these sort of odds on.
Yeah, you know, Browning Island, definitely a horse I liked here at 12-1. Great, I think great use in stable duel. Also, the horse has been running against, you know, significantly better competition at Woodbine in terms of like optional claimer 32s, 3 back. I mean, so if you look at some of that recent form and you go, geez, the horse was really well beaten. Well, he was running against kind of a better caliber of horse in a lot of instances. And this horse fired off a 36 flat bullet leading up to this race. So, which was the first of 4. At Assiniboia. This horse has been, you know, turning in some nice works recently and flashing a little bit of speed, which is when this horse typically has done the best. That when this horse tries to sit back and make a run, it just can't. But when it gets forwardly placed, it tends to finish well. So I like to see that bullet, and hopefully Devin Gittins is kind of getting some speed into this horse with that bullet and kind of saying, listen, we got to go. It's Assiniboia. We got to go.
And Bobby Tiller used to have this horse.
Yeah. So, you know, that's one I definitely looked at. You know, Hard West was a very logical horse as well. One that I liked a lot in this particular spot. I think he'll get a really nice trip. And I thought was, Sir Deputy is a very nice horse up there. Keith, you brought that point up. And so I definitely like that. McCaig, listen, I like this horse as well. I agree with you, Mark, that I think this horse will be better the more they stretch him out at 7.5 and a mile, and 1 1/8 miles. It was a little bit more of the class drop. I am a little worried how this horse fires off the bench, but it was promising to see that there was the 5 furlong bullet 2 works ago, the 102-1 coming back to the 102-3 last time out. So some decent 5 furlong works. You know, we'll see how much this horse, you know, how much work this horse has to do for himself getting up there to the lead. You know, if the horse can sit, you know, 3rd or 4th, it's one thing. When the horse has to sit 5th or 6th, it's something else usually. So we'll see the sort of trip this one ends up getting. But listen, let us know where you guys are going in the chat. Let us know kind of how are you betting this race? Who are you using in stable duel? Let us know what's going on. And by the way, I've been looking at my PP so much, not paying attention. I see that we have, you know, celebrities from Naira, Sarah El Badwi, you know, checking in the chat. Okay. So, you know, I'm not even, I didn't even realize Sarah was in the chat. Welcome, Sarah.
Welcome, Sarah.
Yeah. So, nice to see everybody hanging out. We got 70 people online, and just on YouTube alone, press that like button. Really helps us spread the word. We'll be showing the track here in a second, and we got 2 minutes to post. I mean, time flies when you're having fun at Assiniboia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they really stick to nice post times here. You know, it's refreshing to see. Yeah.
They do. unlike certain tracks. And so, yes, it is very nice
They
to
will
see.
be they will be not named at all. So
yeah, absolutely. So,
And the more I'm looking at it, the
yeah.
more I think this 4-horse here has a big shot that we haven't really talked
Okay.
about yet. Could possibly
Yeah.
be the horse who gets the lead in here, you might think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, it's funny.
speed
It's funny you bring that one up because on capping the card, I had mentioned that one because I think McCaig was my top value play, but I had mentioned offhandedly the 4 because the 4 is 5 for 6 at the distance and is 11 for 14 at in his career in the exact. The horse just doesn't run many bad races, and the last time that was a sloppy track, and I think you can draw a little bit of a line through it. Now you're third back on the form cycle. There's every reason for that horse to take a step forward. And like you said, probably going to be controlling speed in this race.
Now I'm almost wishing I used that horse instead of the 3 in Stable Duel.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
I'm like,
Yeah. And that horse has taken a little bit of money. It was morning line 15-1 is now down to 10-1. So it's attracted a little bit of money. McCaig taking a little bit of money as well, 8-1 to 6-1. And your favorite is still Hard West at 9-5. But let us know. Listen, long shot Louis is going a 6-7 exacta box in this one. So always good to see people taking their shots with different picks and wishing everybody good luck as we get closer to post time in race number 3. And it's just crazy that it's still light out up there, but I understand it's further north and it's, further west. Yeah. And so, it's still weird. It's like watching the US Open. I don't know if anybody watched the US Open in golf this weekend. Yeah. That was out in California. And it's like 11:30 at night and I'm falling asleep and they're not even done with the round. And I'm like, this is craziness.
Just finishing. It was still light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even when I go up to Woodbine, like in the summer, they're on the most western part of the eastern thing. So they're light until 9.
Yeah.
Which is so strange,
Yeah. No, that's wild.
Looks like the scores updated in
we'll do that. We'll do that real quick. That's good. Thank you for pointing that out. So let's see. In the $25 contest, we got some folks, Michael Domabell, always strong. Keith, each and every stride sitting second in the $25 contest. There you go.
You know what? I actually used the 1 horse last race and as a bomb and came in 3rd. So that was
nice. There you go.
All right. Okay. I see Hard Spun 77 who's in the chat. I know he is there. I assume it's a he, but I shouldn't assume that. But anyway, Hard Spun 77 is in the in 3rd. So we got some people doing well there. We got Tim Riders Up finishing 10th. El Hombre's in 10th. I'm in 14th.
Wow.
So we got we got a lot of good people. We got Basil Faulty in 24th. We got Gino, that's what G said, in 23rd. So we got Penn State Scott hanging out there in 30th. So we got people it's good to see everybody there. In the $5 contest, we got Cool Airman, who I know is on the chat sometimes, but I don't know if the chat's there today. But Cool Airman's in 1st there. Oakley Jeter, who's sometimes is in 3rd. So we got a lot of people again in the 25 and in the $5 game hanging out in the chat. So great to see everybody doing well. We got another celebrity in the chat too. We got our man Razor is in the chat. Razor Sharp.
Razor.
One of the great guys. Love Razor. Razor, what's going on? Everybody who is not following Razor on Twitter needs to do that immediately.
Needs to follow.
Razor's awesome. And is putting out content like each and every single day. It's just absolutely amazing. Not just horse racing, but Major League Baseball, NBA when it was going on, it's just everything, golf, etc. He's got content for you. So a ton of great stuff that Razor's doing, and it's great that he's doing it full time now. So we're thrilled for him. And Yeah, not sure he's Mr. Automatic. Mr. Automatic does not check in on the Monday nights at Assiniboia. Mr. Automatic only checks in at Kentucky Derby and the Belmont
and
card.
the big days.
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
days,
Mr. Automatic is a character. And Mr. Automatic comes in and declares things terrible and talks about horses dying, and then like it just hangs out. And a little bit of a downer. But Mr. Automatic is still a legend.
Especially on a what was like a 10-hour stream, and he dropped that comment.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Automatic just does his thing. So, listen, let us know who you're playing in this race. And I see Greg in there in the chat, like in the 1-6 here. Yeah, that one definitely makes a little bit of sense for sure. We haven't really talked about the 6 that much in this race. Unbroken Star, though, that was the one, Keith, you liked a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I used in I think one stable duel, and I just thought it could, he could get a nice trip from that post. 7-1. I might actually place a little small bet here on the 6 here at that price.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I see Basil Faulty going on the 1-7 here. So going to the outside and maybe sometime. And that's one, Sean, you mentioned you like that 7 a little bit.
Yeah, I boxed the 2-3-7.
Nice.
I like it. So 88 people in the chat hanging out right now. Appreciate everybody's support. Press that like button. We're going to turn things over here to Kurt in a second as they start loading them up in the 3rd race at Assiniboia. Remember, this starts the pick 5. The next race starts our $50,000 guaranteed pick 4. So I'll be giving out the ticket for that after this race. Got to figure out how the hell I'm going to put that together, but I will figure that out. I'll let Mark and Sean filibuster for a while while I try to frantically put something together in the in my app. But anyway, yeah, we're going to turn things over to Kurt here as they get them loaded in race number 3. And Hard West is still your favorite at 8-5, and it looks like they just have maybe 1 or 2 left to load. So good luck, everyone who's playing, and best of luck in Stable Duel and all of your bets.
Browning Island ready to go in. Just 2 left to load. Unbroken Star.
All right. Come on, Unbroken Star. Let's get in there. Yeah, we got to...
Maybe sometime from the far outside.
All right.
Will be the last to go in. The field is set. They're at the post. And they're off. Hopping at the start was Browning Island.
Yikes.
From the middle, McKeag shows some early speed with Crown Royal. Painted on the outside. 3 wide, Unbroken Star showing speed. Now going through on the rail. Hard West or across the track. 2 behind them in the deep is watching the action with maybe sometime in Browning Island. After the poor beginning is a trailer. 22-4 the opening quarter. And Crown Royal and Unbroken Star. These 2 look at each other in the eye. Hard West looks to have a mitt full. The favorite in 3rd in the deep, starting to gobble up ground. 4 wide. And McKeag, the rail opens up. Wow. They hit the head of the lane. A short lead for Crown Royal. In between horses, Unbroken Star on the rail. McKeag has slipped through. A late rally from in the deep on the outside. Unbroken Star digging in and is going to win it by 2.
Good call on that horse.
Second best is going to be McKeag.
Yeah, very nice call.
Thank you.
Deep.
Yep. Excellent call by Keith on the 6.
Right, cool.
Fantastic job. And we got that 3-6 exacta. That should pay pretty nicely as well.
Yeah.
McKeag holding on there for second.
Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so,
absolutely. So there you go. And yeah, it looked like Antonio had plenty of horse when they hit the top of the stretch and then just flattened out on the hard west. I mean, just didn't have it. Didn't have that extra gear at all. But, he wasn't – it didn't look like he was pressing on him at all around the turn. It seemed like he had him kind of in hand and, just didn't have it. So
tight a little bit.
He heard I didn't have him in stable duel. He was crushed.
Right. No, he's upset.
Right.
He's upset that you're cheating on him, Sean. It's not fair. So, photo for place. I still think I went to the 3, but that was I'm also somewhat partial because I had.
By the way,
I
give Stanley Chidi credit there. I didn't expect him to go for the lead. I thought he'd be chasing. He tried to bring him out. I give him credit for that, and then kind of gave him a little relax, and he tried to come up the rail. That was actually for a first time start, pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It was. No,
I'm gonna watch him next time.
By the way, Kurt could say the rail opens up every single race. Every single race. If there's ever a horse that could, Calvin Burrell could come up to Assiniboia and win at a 90% clip.
God. Yes.
Good Lord, nobody ever's on the rail. Here, everybody's going 7
it was like
wide.
5 horses like off the rail.
Yeah, absolutely cracks me up. So
I thought that was a good ride by Carreno, though.
Very nice ride on the 6.
Fabulous ride.
You never know. He could actually. He was off to a little bit of a cold start, but one to keep an eye on because he was definitely dominating the last 2 years.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's the point Mark made earlier that Carreno's a very, very good jockey. Just been on some trainers who are a little bit cold lately, but he can give a great ride. And it is McKagie. It did hit the board second in the deep, third, and then Crowned Royal. Jessica, the horse that you mentioned, finished 4th there, and that was one I used in a couple of stable duels. I want to say just because it was a very low price option for me to use to kind of finish out my stable. And hey, in stable duel, that's great. That a 4th place horse gets you some positive points, and that horse only cost you, I think, $500 in stable duel. So that was a good call as well. And you're right, was kind of got out there in the lead, and speed's good here. So there we go. Nice call by Keith.
Nice.
Giving out that 1270 winner on Unbroken Star. McKagie plays 760 to place. In the deep plays 240 to show. Crown Royal finishes 4th. The Exacta pays $62.05. The $1 try pays $206.35, and the $1 Superfecta pays $1,310. The early pick 3 paid $169.20 if you put in it for $1. So there you go. Great call by Keith. And Carson, I see Carson being a little cheeky in the chat saying, is it the 6 or the 9? Listen, we don't even go up to 9 at Assiniboia rarely. So it's the 6. And we got the VIP fan of the night.
Fan of the night.
There you go. Danielle Desjardins. There you go.
There you go. Thank God I watched hockey as a kid, so I know how to pronounce that last name. Desjardins played for the Flyers for a little while. So I knew that one. I sometimes fumble over pronunciations, but I knew that one. So congrats to Danielle on being the fan of the night. And listen, one of the things that I figured, we have a little bit of time in between here. And by the way, just as a reminder, everybody, we got the $50,000 guaranteed pick 4 coming up. Starting in race number 4. And I'll be putting out the ticket that I'll be playing for that pick 4 here in a little bit. But obviously, we talked about Royal Ascot, getting excited about that starting tomorrow. The other thing that we're all getting very excited for is, of course, the start of Saratoga. And if there's one person that I talked to about this outside of my best friend from college who lives up in Saratoga still, it is Mark Capitan. Mark, how are things up in Saratoga? How's the weather? What are the vibes like? Can you sense that racing is getting closer up there?
Yeah, there's I know this is going to sound terrible, but there's always a running joke around Saratoga that when the horse flies arrive, that the horses are in town again. The vibe's good. I mean, it's you're starting to ramp in, and people are starting to get excited. The weather's been good. We had a bit of a dry spell. We've gotten some rain recently. They're calling for rain next weekend as well. But after they did the drainage project on the turf, they did a good job of making that surface so that they can keep it very consistent throughout the meet, even if we have a dry summer. So not too worried. We haven't had a crazy wet spring or anything. So everything should be good. Training tracks have been going real well. I know a couple people that ride in the mornings, and they said, everything's been going great. And it's always you get amped for it. It's what is it?
Yeah.
Just a little over a month away. So can't wait.
Yeah. No, that's going to be great. Can't wait. I know I'll be up there for a couple of weekends. Sean, I know you said you're going up a couple of weekends, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
The 20th to the 22nd, and then the Whitney.
Okay. Got it. And Jessica, are you going up at all this year?
Yeah, I'll be up there the week of the sale, the 6th through the 12th or so.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Excellent.
Are you going to be buying some horses for us, or are you just going to be?
I wish. I mean, if anybody has money they want to give me,
Yeah,
I can give you some pedigrees. But
Yeah.
Wait, dare I ask which sale? Considering there are two, are you going up for the open sale or
the select
feature?
sale?
The select sale. Okay.
And then I'll probably take a look at the New York breds, but I'm not. I don't think I'm going to stick around for the whole thing.
Yeah.
But Little Bluebird Stables is having their get together the weekend after that, the 11th and 12th. So I figured, all right, well, sales is the 7th, 8th. Let's go.
Yeah, if you've never been, the select sale is the most fun thing ever. You can be Joe Schmo off the street, walk in, get handed a glass of champagne, and just don't raise your hand.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I went, I was 19, and I was just having people like giving me drinks, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's a very fun time.
That's awesome.
I always tell my friends it's like a cocktail party for rich people to like throw their money around. It's a good time.
Nice.
I love it. I absolutely love it. That's fantastic. I've never been to the sales, so I need to do that one of these years. I know I'll be up for Jim Dandy weekend, and it's possible I'll be up for a couple of other weekends here coming up, and we'll just have to wait and see. I will be up at Monmouth for Haskell as well, so I'll be doing that in all likelihood. That's always a good time. Keith, are you going to be heading up to Saratoga at any point this year?
Yeah, I just been trying to map it out and I'll look at your guys' schedules too now that I heard it, and definitely gonna try to match up one weekend. And I was just looking at some of the pricing, and it was a little up there, but we'll make it work. And I actually already made plans for September. I'm gonna be at the Pennsylvania Derby. I think Sean might be there too. So
absolutely,
I will be there as well.
Yep.
And met Sean there last year, and I'm always at the Pennsylvania Derby with a couple of my buddies from Philly, and that's always a good time. And a great day of racing, and beautiful weather last year too. I remember that was just gorgeous.
That was gorgeous last year.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, that was great. It was nice and cool too. It wasn't even. I remember it was like actually genuinely chilly in the morning, and then it warmed up nice, and great day of racing
around like 10 a.m.
Yeah, no, it really is. But it can be like that sometimes, Mark, well, Mark knows this. I mean, it can be like that sometimes up in Saratoga, where like you wake up in the mornings and you're like, it's like 40 degrees, and it warms up and everything's nice. So listen, we got a lot of things going on this summer. We got a lot of content here on Trust the Profits. So like I said, make sure to give us a follow if you've not yet on YouTube. We got a ton of content. We got stuff coming out this week for Royal Ascot. We got stuff coming out. We got the live stream on Thursday. I think Colin and I are going to do an Ohio Derby first look. That just came out. Two Phils, the likely favorite, obviously coming back from that huge second place effort in the Kentucky Derby. Going to be running against another horse that I think has had his form flattered a little bit in Bishop's Bay. Obviously finishing second in a duel in the Peter Pan to Arcangelo, who went on to win the Belmont. So that's going to be an interesting race to talk a little bit about this week. So we still have a lot of stuff. Even though the Triple Crown season's over, horse racing is still in high gear. So make sure to check all of our stuff out. And then Jessica's got her pedigree puzzle coming out on Friday. Jess, do you know who you're going to be doing the pedigree puzzle about this coming week? Or are we still
I'm not sure yet this week. It might end up being a week off for the pedigree puzzle this week. I'm not sure. I have a bunch of work going on. So unless I find something in the Phasic Tipton July sale that catches my eye, either that or I am planning to do a 2-year-old watch list video
Nice.
with a couple of
Ooh,
2-year-olds
okay.
that I
Love
have
it.
my eye
Love it.
on.
Really
So
helpful,
maybe
yeah.
I'll make that happen. Maybe I'll make that
Love
happen
it.
this week. I can make it happen.
There you go. See,
There you go.
you spend enough time talking to me, you start making content. You just start throwing out other priorities in your life, and you just end up starting making videos. So, no, that'd be great. I mean, obviously, this past week we saw a lot of talk about some Bob Baffert 2-year-olds
Yeah.
in terms of Amir Mahdi, who was a rather disappointing third in the facing Tipton futurity. And then Muth the very next
Ooh.
day, who looked just
Very
gangbusters,
impressive.
breaking his maiden super fast. So interesting to see that. And we were talking earlier about the Wesley Ward 2-year-old American Rascal, who's going to be running over at Ascot this weekend,
looking forward to that
this
one.
week. So that's always fun. Mark, I was interested. I was talking a little bit earlier about Royal Ascot, and we were chatting about different biases, things like that. Is there any American you think that's got a shot to win?
I honestly haven't dug deep enough into the card yet to really figure out if I think there's any Americans. I think, I mean, obviously anything Wes Ward ships over tends to be somewhat live. He tends to do fairly decent. But I haven't heard about those sort of steam horses. I know there was a couple of horses we were thinking were going to go, and plans have changed. So there's no one yet that's jumped out at me that I've been like, okay, this is a horse that's an American that I'm really interested. The other thing is, I mean, again, it depends how the pools are structured this year. I'm not 100% sure, but sometimes betting Americans into European dominant pools is a good thing to do. If the pools though are not commingled, you have to be really careful because of the American horses, just on people knowing them, tend to take a lot of money and are massively over bet. So you have an advantage if you actually know the Euros. So you just have to be a little careful.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we are nothing if not patriotic with the way we bet when our horses go overseas, and we just hammer those American horses, and any horse whose name we recognize. So Modern Games will take a ton of money because people know who Modern Games is and things like that. So it's interesting to see. How that'll all play out. But tomorrow's going to be, I mean, you really can't ask for a better day to kick things off with Royal Ascot with Inspiral versus Modern Games in that very first race. That's going to be a lot of fun. So a lot of great stuff coming up. And like I said, we still have the first leg of the pick 4 coming up, and we got 9 minutes to post here. So let's go around the horn. And last time I finished with Mark, so I'll start with Mark this time. Mark, where did you go in race number 4 here at Assiniboia?
Yeah, I'm just going to single a 7 in this race. I thought that last race for, I'm not even going to try to say the name because I'm going to slaughter that one. But I thought that the last race for the 7 was really, really good. You see a lot of these horses coming out of other circuits. They ship to Assiniboia. Some of them handle the going and some don't. Horse showed, didn't break on top, was able to pass other horses and kind of drew away and looked pretty darn impressive. So I thought the 7 in here made a lot of sense. I saw the horse was 5-1 on the morning line, and I got really, really excited. And then as soon as the pools opened, I realized that everybody else was seeing the same exact thing I was seeing. The morning line favorite was the 6 Gallant Oak, and I wanted to be against that horse just because that last out figure was in on the sloppy going, which we're not getting today. That does tend to sort of skew figures. And again, the 6 is just been no win machine, going 3 for 21 career and has never won at this distance. So I thought the 7 was the much more interesting price, and the board seems to agree with me.
Yeah. Sean, where did you end up going in this one?
Well, okay. I do have Antonio. I'm back on the Antonio.
All right, there we go. We can't go more than 2 races.
Play that 7. But I actually 2 reasons. I actually liked him as horse. I liked his races. But as you alluded to, Matt, earlier, this horse is coming up from Tampa Bay, right? Yeah. And where it's 84, 85 tonight versus some of these horses.
Well, this horse
was in Tampa Bay in some very hot conditions. So this may kind of be a little home away from home for him, so I think that moves him up even more tonight. But I did like him for an upset. I have a bit of an upset in my stable duel. I like the 5, Uncle Mo's Cat there.
A lot of people like. Yeah, a lot of people like.
Yeah, this one. I thought for stable duel purpose, I think this horse could definitely get in the money. I don't know if he'll win necessarily. I don't think he's a win candidate, but I definitely see him closing and getting one of the minor shares for sure.
There you go. Jess, I know you liked Uncle Mo's Cat quite a bit here as well.
Yeah. I love this horse stretching out off of that last effort. Just toss it in the slop first off the layoff. Just line through it. The last 2 races at a mile are definitely competitive here. And honestly, hasn't been that far back in those mile races. So I think, there's plenty of pace in here between the 7, the 2 has some early foot. The 4 isn't slow early, and neither is the 1, who I also used in stable duel. The 7 makes a lot of sense. I definitely get using that horse. I'm not familiar enough with Assiniboia yet to know how much the step up in class matters there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like they came in, they were trying to figure out where they fit and learned that they definitely could be above the $5,000 level there with that horse.
Yeah.
But just kind of a horse that I was like, I don't know what to make of that. If you're going to step up in class, a win like that is a good time to off a win like that. It makes sense. But I thought that the horse was beatable. And I thought the 3 was interesting. But I really liked on the 1, the trainer numbers stretching out sprint to route are really good. And has, a win at the distance only time he tried it. So I think I'm 5-1-3-7 in here, but I liked quite a few. I thought it was a really wide open race.
There you go. Keith, where did you go in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think you can make a case for a lot of these horses. I did land on the 7 as my top pick, and as a lot of points that Mark made. Whenever Whitehall stays aboard, and then Sean was saying how these, this horse comes from pretty tough races at Tampa, and just this horse's running style, we're going to a mile now. So I actually kind of like the outside post for this horse. We're stretching out to a mile, and then just the way this horse won, I watched the replay. It just really seemed that this horse would really like the more ground. It just seemed very comfortable winning, just not under any pressure at all. So I like the post a lot, and I see the public likes this horse a lot too. And then earlier in the stream, I actually was talking about Last Renegade. So that was actually my second pick, the 1. I just thought it was sneaky play going back to the mile. And I was saying before, some of those races at Turf Paradise really thought kind of matched up pretty well. And, again, I go back to the mile distance, and with the 1 post, you can actually kind of work out a trip that way. So I put the 1 for second, and then third was kind of wide open for me. I actually put the 3 as number, number third here. And I do see all your points with Uncle Mo's Cat too, but with the 3, I just thought that maybe if Chow can get this horse a little closer, just needs a setup really. And I actually put a comment here. It says, I thought this horse actually finished better than Mild Rally. I watched the replay, and just as I said, just can get the setup at 7-2. I really wasn't willing to put this in my stable duel, but I could see this horse definitely hitting the board.
Yeah, it's interesting. Happy Camper was my top choice actually in this race, and Exchequer was my my value play. We can flip that around now because Exchequer is now no longer is Exchequer a value play at all. And so that was just based on the morning line. But listen, I like Happy Camper. It goes back to some things that Mark and I were mentioning earlier in terms of the all-weather. This is a horse that ran at Turfway Park and running on that all-weather surface. Obviously then went to Indiana and then came up here to Assiniboia. I agree with you, Keith. I thought ran better than the lines might indicate. Magic Tigers come back to win next time out from that race. So good to see, good quality coming out of that race. The 7, I think, makes a lot of sense. My biggest concern with the 7 is the post position, honestly, just because Assiniboia is so inside favored. And maybe this is a remnant from last year, and maybe things are going to turn around. But last year, if you were in those inside first 3 post positions, that was like a guaranteed you were going to win or hit the board every time they were going 2 turns. And if you were outside, you were kind of in no man's land. And so it's just about the trip that Antonio is going to be able to carve out for the 7. But I think, listen, the stretch out makes sense for that particular horse. Obviously, a lot has won 5 times going a mile. So there's definitely some things to like. And second back from a brief layoff. Sean, you bring up a great point about the weather. That I think is a really great point. Yeah, Uncle Mo's Cat is a horse I used in a couple of spots as well. We talked about that one early on the stream. 4 for 6 in the exacta at the distance. So I think makes a ton of sense here. So yeah, this one is a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys all sharing your points of view because it gave me the opportunity to build a pick 4 while you were doing it. And so I was listening to all of you, but I was also building pick 4. And so we built a $1 pick 4. We're going 3-7 in the first leg, 3-4-5 in leg 2, 4-8 in leg 3, and then 4-8-9 in the final leg. $36 pick 4 ticket. We'll see. We'll see if we can get a couple of prices in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was one I really wanted to single the 7, but that post position is what worried me enough that I decided to go with the 3. Went from an $18 ticket to a $36 ticket. I can live with that, and so went with that for that race. But we're getting close to post time, actually, folks.
Yeah.
And so we are approaching. We're kind of like at the halfway point of the card. And so just to look at what the board's doing, Exchequer, the number 7 is at 9-5, followed by the number 2, who is at 5-2, kind of holding that morning line value steal home for Jared Brown and Carreno, who we were talking about a little bit earlier. And then Happy Camper at 9-2 is floated up just a tad. Now at 5-1. You have a couple of other horses. The one horse, Last Renegades, at 7-1. You also have Gallant Oak at 6-1. That's a horse that's really floated up from the 2-1 morning line. And then Uncle Mo's Cat taking a little bit of money from 20-1 down to 15-1. And then you have the number 4 as well, Mr. Walsh, who we've not talked about. It's actually taken a lot of money. It's gone from 25-1 down to 9-1. So that's a horse that has taken a little bit of action. It's a horse that's 2 for 3 in the money at this distance with a win. Has been running at Foner. We have seen some horses come back and run well off of that transition from Foner to Assiniboia. And I will say, Jerry Gorno has really heated up as the meet has gone on. He was ice cold early in the meet. I think he was 0 for his first 13 or 15, and he's kind of caught on a little bit more as the meet's gone on, as his horses have run a little bit more into shape. This horse delivered a nice 4 furlong work this past week, 48-4 on a 4 furlong work. So, a possible horse, not sure if it's like the dot and dash type of a horse that we saw a couple races ago, but one that's certainly interesting to keep in mind. But we're getting here. Kurt's top picks. He's going 6-7-3, and Stretch is going 7-2-3. So, we've talked about, those horses and kind of what we like, what we don't like. I'm surprised he likes the 6 as much as he does. I was with you, Mark. I mean, I just kind of drew a line through that sloppy effort last time. And if you draw that, then I'm not really sure this horse wants a dirt mile. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. I mean, I had a hard time getting there. The 2-turn races overall on dirt have not been that impressive. 2-turn races on turf are a little better, where speed carries a little bit. I think this is just a little bit further than this horse probably wants to go. It seems like I would be more interested in that horse at maybe cutting back to 6 or 6.5 at this track, but not the 2-turn.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 6.5 would be, I think, ideal. For this
the
horse
betting
here.
board. The betting board is saying the same thing. I mean, 7-1 right now. So that's a big telling sign.
Yeah, big jump up for sure. So, so we got we got Rex giving out his pick 4 as well. So Rex, appreciate you chiming in on the chat and giving out. Much appreciated. And I think we can both win. That's the key. Is that we have overlapping horses every single leg. So Rex, you and I can both win, cool. And that would be good. Bobby D giving out his exacta. He's going with the 7 here as well, 7-1 over 6-2. Jeff is going with the 7-6-3 exacta box. So we got some people dropping in there plays, and I think Shoddy at the bar at Foghorns. Shout out to Foghorns in Arkansas, who is showing the live stream right now, and much appreciated, Shoddy. Shoddy's got the Foghorn team has their pick 4 in, and that's the key. I
That
love
is
it.
awesome.
So love to see that.
Very
And
cool.
very few things are cooler than that. So love to see it. Yeah, Cindy pointed out, Gary Danielson trains that 6 gallon oat, and he is absolutely one of the best out there. I used a bunch of his horses last week to great effect. Like that one a lot. So listen, we're hoping everybody has a successful pick 4 here as they get close to loading them up, going 1 mile, going 2 turns at Assiniboia. I mean, again, the level of excitement here is palpable. This is going to be interesting. I always like to see how the 2 turns play. We got 81 people here on YouTube in the chat. Make sure to press that like button, folks. Really helps us out a ton. Spread the word. Shows the folks at Assiniboia that we're all playing and cashing and winning. So really helps us out a lot. We're going to turn things over to Kurt here in a little bit. Yeah, this is a good one. So, Mark, how are you betting this one? Are you just betting the pick 4? Or are you betting vertically at all in this?
Yeah, I have a pick 4. It's 7 over 3-4 over 4-7 over 3-4 8-10. So we can also both hit Matt. But I figured I would single a 7 here, and felt like I needed to get a little cute some leg, so might as well be here.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Very good. Well, they're getting them loaded up pretty quickly here. It looks like almost everybody's in, so I'm going to turn things over to Kurt. Good luck on everybody's bets. Now the 2 horses really act up. 2 horse really reared up there. I don't think the jockey came off, but I think he got up. They're still waiting on to load the 7. Looks like the 7 is going in. So I will turn things over to Kurt for the call here in race number 4.
Is now in. They're at the post. And they're off. From the inside, Steal Home. Shows good early speed. Mr. Walsh is going to put on the pressure early. Settle back in, 3rd on the rail. Last Renegade in between horses. Happy Camper. 3 wide. Uncle Moe's Cat. Exchequers, 2nd to last. And Gallant Oak. Can see them all. Pretty quick opening quarter. 23-4. Steal Home and Mr. Walsh. These 2 have opened up 3 lengths on Last Renegade in 3rd. Coming up the rail, Exchequer has found a good spot there. In between horses, Happy Camper. Another length and a half back to Uncle Moe's Cat. And Gallant Oak is last, but only 6 off of it. 48-1, a quick half mile. And Steal Home looking strong. Opens up by 2 lengths. On the far outside, that's Happy Camper making a bold move. Exchequer with a bunch of horse will be looking for room. Last Renegade also rallying from the outside. They're coming to the head of the lane, and it's Happy Camper putting a nose in front. Steal Home trying to battle back. Exchequer has that room on the outside and is trying to get Happy Camper. Happy Camper with the lead. Exchequer with the late run in the middle of the track. Exchequer, Happy Camper. Those 2 photo finish, too close to call. Gallant Oak finish in 3rd.
Wow. I have no idea how that finished.
No.
Maybe the outside, but
I want to say
close.
7.
There, but
Yeah,
there's a little bit of bumping too. So
yeah. Well, it's my
Horse
attitudes
racing.
on this are a little bit more like NASCAR, Rubbins racing.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. I'm usually the one who defends Irad, but listen, it is that was a really thrilling finish. Yeah, I think the 7 got it.
I think yeah.
From the pan there, it looks like the 7.
Yep. So listen, I wish it was a dead heat because it might pay a little bit better. But I think the 7 got there. But listen, I knew the 2 was going to fade, and you could tell anybody close to that lead was really struggling coming down the stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, the horses that were coming from back were where it was the way to go, because they didn't have much coming for home there in those final fractions, and so the really great ride by Antonio on the 7, and saved all the ground. I mean, gave up position to save ground and came over on the inside. And I think that was
just gave that rail. Yeah, when he gets that rail, he's just dangerous.
Yep.
There's a reason he's winning at the percentage he is. He knows how to save ground like that, and then makes the big wide swing come into the stretch. And obviously it's a bull ring. You don't have as long of a front stretch, so you have to make those moves coming around the corner. And he knows how to get that done. So
2-1.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. So it goes 7-3-6-1. So that's good. And Mark, your single survives. Congratulations, sir. And so nicely done.
Yeah.
Great job, Mark.
That was Happy Camper ran, I thought, a nice race as well. That was
very nice.
We got the exacta there. So that was good. Gallant Oak, certainly coming on late, and that was another one where everybody was just so tired it looked like coming for home. That Gallant Oak was just picking up pieces, and I thought might actually get there a little bit, but didn't end up doing it. So that was a great finish. That was a nice race going a mile. So congrats to the connections on Exchequer there. But that one almost felt a little bit like a turf race in some way, with the 2 and 4 just kind of going out open lengths. And when Kurt called out the opening quarter, I was like, oh, there's no way the 2's going to win this race. Going 23 and 4, 48 and 2 for the opening quarter and half. Like you're not going to sustain that on a mile.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there you go. Shotty's got people in it. Team Foghorn is still alive in the pick.
Love it.
In the pick 4, and is getting people excited about it coming down the stretch. I love it. So that's going to be that's always a lot of fun. Glad to see everybody's getting in there. So people are still alive in the pick 4, still alive in the pick 5. That's always great to see. So love to see everybody doing all right there. Exchequer getting the job done at 2-1. And that was a great stable duel horse, because that was a stable duel horse that was, if I'm not mistaken, 5-1. Only cost you $6,000, and you managed to get the win. So that was one I think a lot of people ended up using. Exchequer pays $620 to win. Happy Camper pays $530 to place, and Gallant Oak pays $310 to show. The $1 exacta pays $13.55. The $1 try pays $49.10. The $1 super pays $152.60. And the closeout of the $1 pick 3 pays $343.65. Not a bad pick 3 payout right there for $1. So that's interesting. That paid out so well. That's great. So all right, there we go. It always feels good when we're still alive in the pick 4 after the first leg. So now we can move on to race number 5 on the card. Which is a claiming 5, non-winners of 3 lifetime. And that's going 5.5. So we're going back to sprinting here. But listen, before we do, I first of all want to just say thank you to everybody for tuning in, and also say thank you to all 4 of you for coming and hanging out with me tonight. This is always a lot of fun. It was always appreciated.
Great time.
We got a great community here, so make sure to press that like button. Make sure to subscribe. Always appreciate the support. We got the Ohio Derby coming up this week.
Yes.
And I'm going to do around the horn here. And I'll start with Keith. Put him on the hot seat first.
Keith.
All right, Keith. Would you take, if I gave you a choice, 2 fills or the field? Who are you taking?
Ooh, that's a tough one right there. I know 2 fills is close to your heart, Matthew.
I didn't ask me that question. I know what I'm going to do, but it's all right. I ask you.
I mean, as an honest horse player, I got to take the field in that spot. Because, I mean, I know 2 fills really ran a banger of a Kentucky Derby. I mean, that was an unbelievable effort. I was there, and the horse just really, what a big effort that was to see live.
Yeah.
Actually, Sean knows I've been following a horse for a while. It was my original way back Kentucky Derby horse was Henry Q. Actually.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if the morning lines came out yet. I know Henry Q got the one post.
Yeah.
So, always interested in following that.
Yeah, I've got it up right here, 5-1 on Henry Q.
Ooh, there you go. All right, thanks, Jess.
Okay, look at that, Jess. Love it.
I realized that I hadn't seen the field yet, so I needed to.
That's why I didn't start with Jess. See, that was just brilliant planning on my part, not to let her go
exactly.
first. So
kind of zeroing in on that horse and back to Doug O'Neill and the Delmar group there. So always followed that one. I was really impressed with the Mind That Bird Derby, and then we all know the Sunland Derby was rough, very rough run race.
Rough.
So
he got kicked in the gate.
It was just the whole start and then just the fractions. The whole race was tough. And then, I mean, I thought it was an interesting move. I know that Henry Q actually ran, I think, in the Peter Pan and came in third. So
came in third.
That was a good effort.
And the winner won the Belmont, you know?
Oh, so, there you go.
Flattered.
And by the way, this might be comment of the night. David Barista saying that my question is one of the great SNL callbacks, Ditka versus God. And when the Bears and all those great I love those great SNL skits. So always fun. Sean, I'll go to you next. Kind of where are you going when you look at that Ohio Derby? Do you think Two Phils is kind of heads and shoulders, or are you more interested in maybe trying to play the field and beating him?
I do. I think on ability he is. My question is I think that Derby race was huge. I mean, beyond huge, right? Yeah. He stays up and everybody, right? So my question for him is, because I love Jareth. I love the connections. I think it's an awesome story, and for Illinois racing, he'd be fabulous. The only question is, how much did that race take out of him, and will he be the same horse? You know, that's my only question. I think versus this group, I think he does stand out in terms of class. The only thing is, how much did that race? He wasn't in the Preakness. He wasn't in the Belmont. How much did that race really take out of him? But if he's anywhere near his B+ game, I think he stands out versus this group.
Yep. Mark, you and I were on the Derby live stream together when Two Phils gave my heart a flutter. And almost got home for me. And this is a horse I identified going back to the Lecomte. I love this horse. And he was kind of my version of simplification this year, and he ran a huge race. But interested in your thoughts, Two Phils in the Ohio Derby, you playing against, I mean, some of what Sean mentioned is, I think, a concern a lot of us have, which is that was such a huge Derby effort. Can he back it up?
Yeah, that's my concern, is it was such a huge Derby effort, and I think he sets up to bounce here. So I think I have to take the field. I don't know what horse in the field I really need to kind of dig in to some of these, because, again, these are not the most, normal household names of horses. I mean, some of them, like a Lord Miles, you've heard of, but besides that, they're not horses that I'm really super familiar with. So I do need to do a little digging. At this point, I think I would take the field over Two Phils. Just don't tell Josh that I said that, because I will hear the world's biggest lecture out of that one. But I think he really sets up he has the bounce here, right? Like, that was just an absolute massive top. Or maybe he really is, getting back onto dirt, taking that much of a step forward. So but yeah, I think I'll take the field for now.
No, I get it. Jess, now that you've had a good minute and a half to look over the PPs, what are your thoughts on the race leading up this Saturday? You taking Two Phils, or are you going somewhere else in the Ohio Derby?
I'll take Two Phils, I think. I'm not worried about a bounce for him, honestly. I just think he's had enough time, and I'm not concerned about that. I do think Bishop's Bay is a very nice horse. I'm also, I was all over Arcangelo for the Belmont, and he ran Arcangelo to the wire. I think he's a really good horse, but I think Two Phils is just the best of this group. I would be happy to go 4-3 cold with, just without even really looking at the PPs, but just what I know of these horses. I think it's pretty straightforward, pretty chalky looking.
By the way, before I talk about, before we give Two Phil love note from me, I gotta give a shout out to our boy Dennis Trusty, who is, you're right, this is an all-star Assiniboia crew. When we get Jessica and Mark coming on, this takes it up a notch. I mean, me and Sean and Keith, we're all nice, well and good. But when you get Jessica and Mark, things really get ratcheted up a notch. Listen, one of the shows that I loved as a kid, and this tells you what a weird kid I was a political show called The McLaughlin Group. where John McLaughlin had a round table full of prognosticators about politics, and he would ask questions, and he would go, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate Ronald Reagan's economic policy, Eleanor Cliff, and he'd go around, and everybody would give a scale of 1 to 10, and they go, a 3, and they give a little explanation. A 7, a 4, a 5, and he would always go last. He would just go, wrong. The correct answer is 8, and then it would just be this definitive answer that he would somehow give, and then they'd just move on to the next topic. And so I've really felt like kind of going around and being like, wrong. The correct answer is 2 fills wins by 5 lengths. And so I am very excited about 2 fills in this spot. I think, he obviously has had a nice lengthy layoff. And I think that, he does kind of stand a little bit heads and shoulders. Is this the new normal? I mean, Mark, you mentioned, from a buyer standpoint, this is, 2 consecutive triple-digit buyer speed figure races. Is this just now who he is as a horse? Is there some regression to the mean? Or just based on, did that race, to Sean's point, take some starch out of him? We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I don't think it's the strongest group in the world. I do. Henry Q's interesting. Bishop's Bay is interesting. And certainly had his form flattered. They both did, honestly, by Arcangelo in that effort in the Belmont. So that's kind of where you're looking. But hey, 2 fills is kind of a little bit of my ride or die. And everybody on Trust the Profits made fun of me when I was picking him to kind of finish in the exacta. And then they all, regretted those words. And so, I got to puff out my chest for about 30 seconds on that one, but I didn't have Mage, so I couldn't puff out my chest for very long, because I didn't get the right answer. So, listen, always a lot of fun to talk about some different types of races in between the races here, but we got 5 minutes to go in race number 5. And, this is a nice little $5,000 claimer. I think there's some nice horses in here. Jessica, where did you end up looking in this particular race in terms of stable duel or in terms of your top picks?
Yeah, I ended up on the chalk in here. The 3, Maybella. She just kind of looks like Lone Speed and the best horse on top of it. I thought the 4 and 5 would be the other 2 to round out the try, but nothing special here.
Yep. I like you, I had a hard time getting by the 3, 4, 5, hence why I played them in my ticket. But I didn't see, I like the 4 a little bit more than the 5, mainly because of that all-weather to dirt transition we've seen. Now, the question with the 4 is, can this horse actually get the job done and actually win, which is a little bit of concern. But I know my fellow all-weather to dirt compatriot Mark probably likes this 4 a little bit too here, maybe. Mark, where are you going in this race?
I'm 3-4 here. Again, nothing creative to say. Obviously, there is the all-weather horse here, but I think the 3 looks like Lone Speed and should win this pretty easily, or should be at least controlling this pretty easily. And the horses 2 of 4 go on this trip. My concern with Tapestry Way is that this is probably a little sharper than than she wants. She's tended to do better going a little longer, and I also hate horses that throw up a big figure in a losing effort, because oftentimes those just you go, okay, is that figure real? That last figure, at least in time form, kind of is the best in the field, but it makes you kind of scratch your head. The one horse that is a absolutely stupid bomb price in here that I thought was a little bit interesting is the number 2 Scarlet's Flower. I realize you're getting an O for Jock, but the horse is perfect over the track, and it happened to be going this trip at this level and in that 3-back race. So, if you're looking for, this is a quirky track. There's horse for course angles really work here, and that's your horse for course horse at a pretty good price.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming back from a little bit of a layoff.
It was off the layoff as well. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So Keith, where did you end up going in this race? Are you going with the chalky or horses, or are you going somewhere else?
It's something I kind of went. This was I felt like maybe the toughest race of the night. I mean, just because of I do see your points with the 3, 4, and 5. So I did go with Artisan Dancer on top this time, and I'll explain why. I just think that really could set up. I mean, I know that Maybella had its way on the front end last time, and then Tapestry's Way, really, as I have in the notes here, actually put away the rival, but really I'm concerned with the 4 just like finishing the job at this point at the end. I know kind of a lot of second-itis there on the 4, so I really couldn't put the 4 on top, but I was just trying to create value, and so I went, and I do see 4-1 actually on Artisan Dancer, so I went 5-3-4 here, and just one bomb just to throw in since 20 Whitehall's on fire is the 1 Sea of Life. I actually threw in one of my stable duels, and I just found this horse kind of interesting as a bomb, especially with that jockey aboard. And let me just see what I wrote here. 3rd time back off the layoff, and I think we'll actually kind of appreciate the cutback a little bit. So I guess I'll put the 1/4 and through in there. So
there you go. All right. Like it. I like Artisan Dancer as a value play quite a bit. His horse has demonstrated the ability to run well, particularly underneath. But listen, these are non-winners of 3 lifetimes, so nobody wins a lot. And at least this horse is getting up there close a bunch of times. Sean, where did you go in this race?
I was just with the favorite, Maybella. Yeah. I think this is the Bremont lock of the night.
For Chow.
With her boy Chow. Yeah, I just think he's strong in this group. That was a really strong race last time, and I just think with the way the track's playing, it sets up for him perfectly. Yeah, and that was the only horse that I really. I mean, obviously Antonio 23-1. I mean, I mean, but no, but I really like the 3. That was my only real play of the.
All right.
And by the way, I have one horse that I do like tomorrow for Ascot.
Okay, give it to us.
Twilight Gleaming.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
For Irad and Wesley. I think I know there's American, and I'm putting my American hat on, but I do think that horse, the way that horse runs, really, I think we'll appreciate the Ascot trip. Irad goes over, to ride it. I think that horse has got a legitimate chance, maybe not to win, but to hit the board for sure. I mean, if not win, I think we could definitely put a real, punching chance into those horses.
Yeah.
And so they're better short than long,
Is Irad planning on looking forward when the gates pop this year?
Let's hope. Because that was the issue last year, right? That he was looking the wrong way for.
He was looking at the starter. Yeah, I think it was on Golden Pal. He was not used to the fact that if you won't load or you have an issue with the gate, they just scratch you and pop the gates. Like they don't reset the gate. Yeah. They don't do a bounce back everybody out, and he was not aware of that. So,
yeah, no, I remember that. But hopefully lessons learned, and I personally like that philosophy over there of like, oh, you don't want to load? Get the hell out there. All right, great. Just you're out.
They just announce it last second, and then the field's just gonna break, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm all for it because good Lord, there's so many times where you're watching a race, and I always think it's just patently unfair to the horses that are already loaded in the starting gate to just be sitting there and waiting for one final horse to load, and it's just waiting and waiting and waiting, and it just gets ridiculous. And I like I said, I often feel like it's a disadvantage. And there's one track, I think Sunland does it, and I want to say that maybe Indiana Grand does it, or Horseshoe Indianapolis, I should say. There's one track that actually does a gate timer, that when the first horse goes into the gate, they actually start a timer. And they'll let you know how long the horse has been in the gate. Yeah. Oh, is it Horseshoe? Okay. Yeah. And so
I've seen that actually. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. So I like paying attention to that sometimes. And I'm again Anglophile. I like the Brits. I like their system. I love it. So let's see. Kurt's picks here. He's going 3-4-7. Stretch is going 4-5-7. They both like the 7 as a horse to finish underneath. Ruby and the Stars. We didn't really talk much about this one for Jennifer Jordan with Austin aboard. Hasn't ever hit the board at the distance. I think that was a little bit of a concern that I had. 3rd back in the form cycle, and maybe this horse is running back into shape. This horse did run, certainly did improve as the meet went on last year. 3rd time at Assiniboia, ran the best race, but we'll see. I mean, this is a horse that I think might be a little up against it, but it's taking a little bit of a class drop. Was running claiming 10s and now back down to a claiming 5. So, something to keep in mind there, just to give a shout to another horse. But let us know how you are playing this race in Assiniboia on the 5th race. How are you playing this one? So Jeff is playing it. He's playing 5-3-7. So he's going Tapiture Way, Mibella, and Ruby and the Stars. And we got Longshot Louie doing the 1-3 exacta box, going for a little bit of a bomb. Definitely like that. Especially with the one up top. Currently 30-1. Antonio Whitehall. You don't get many Antonio Whitehall horses going off at 30-1.
No,
so yeah, that might be worth a show bet there, Sean. And we might need to throw $2.
I have my cross. I have $2.
All right, there you go.
All right, loving it right there.
I could not resist at 30-1. If he ever won, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Of course he loses. You know?
Yeah, of course not. So listen, we got a lot of great racing still to come. After this race, we still got 2 more. And I don't know where Colin is. Colin might have seen all of us on the chat and decided just to take it easy tonight. But we do need to have the sleepy time horse.
Colin is taping right now his visit from Loggins for his birthday. The video will be coming out soon. Exactly.
That guy. We need to start a GoFundMe. We need to have 2 GoFundMes. One for Jess to be able to buy a horse up at the select sale.
Yep.
2 is for we need to get an all expenses paid trip for Colin to visit Loggins.
Absolutely.
Because that's really what it's all about. But I hope Colin sticks around in the chat because he needs to give out his sleepy time pick. So he just confirmed in the chat he will give out the sleepy pick, and that's really the key to this whole thing. But listen, right now, Maybella is your favorite at 3-2, followed by Tapiture Way at 2-1. Followed by Artisan Dancer at 5-2. I don't know if I like Artisan Dancer at 5-2. I like Artisan Dancer more at 5-1. Everybody else is a pretty big long shot. So the board's seeing this 1, 3, 4, 5. We are alive to the 3, 4, 5 in the pick 4. Cindy's playing the 4. Where she's doing a key box with the 4 with the 2, 3, 7 underneath. But listen, we're going to turn things over to Kurt here as they get them loaded in. It looks like they just have 1 left to load. They're getting the 6 loaded in and the 7. So good luck on all your selections in race number 5, and hope everybody stays alive in the pick sequences.
They're all set. They're at the post. And they're off. On the far outside, Saturday Service. Showing all the early speed matched on the inside by Artisan Dancer, who now takes over. Saturday Service back to second. Maybella moving up in third. Fourth on the rails, See a Life, Tapiture Way. To the outside in fifth, a gap of 4 lengths back. Ruby and the Stars, Scarlet's Flower, the early trailer. A quick opening quarter, 22-3. Artisan Dancer with the lead. Maybella, hot on her heels in second. 4 lengths back on the inside, See a Life. In between horses, Saturday Service, and a lot of work to do for Tapiture Way. They hit the head of the lane. Artisan Dancer, the lead shortening, up by 3/4 of a length. Maybella, gonna try and catch her from here. A late rally by Saturday Service on the far outside, but it's gonna be Artisan Dancer hanging on for the win. Yep. Saturday Service second best. Third is gonna go to Maybella.
All right, we are alive, ladies and gentlemen, and more thrillingly, the biggest price out of the 3 was the one that got the job done. So we are thrilled about that. Wow, I mean, Artisan Dancer broke like a rocket ship, and I didn't know that horse was going to be able to hold on, but gutty effort there, heading down the stretch.
That was something. I didn't think Artisan Dancer was going to win like that on the front end, but that was quite the effort right there.
Yeah.
I thought the 3 was just going to blow right by him, and he said, no, not tonight.
He had turned her away.
Yeah. That 3 lost all chance right at the break. The horse broke absolutely, basically dead last and kind of got rushed up down the backstretch. So, so as I saw the break, I was like, oh, this is going to be tough.
Yeah. He said ciao.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did say ciao. Ciao said ciao to that ride. And the 6 came running late. Saturday Service.
Huge run.
A huge run.
I actually used that horse in one of my $5 stables.
Nice.
So,
That's a good one to use. That was 15-1 morning line. So that was a a good one to use. And
Yeah.
Artist and Dancer is definitely one I used. That was my top value play on capping the card, and ended up coming through. But that was a horse that, again, 14 for 24 lifetime in the money. Pretty good numbers for non-winners of 3 race. So now gets the job done there. And I think particularly impressive because if you look last time out, this horse got out on the lead. And this is kind of interesting, going 6 furlongs, got out on the lead, ran slower fractions than what he did tonight, at least the first quarter. The first half is almost identical. And even the first 6 furlongs is almost identical, but faded badly to 6th that day. The 5.5 seems to be perfect for this horse. The 6 was maybe just a little too far. So it's just something to keep in mind when this horse is at 5 or 5.5, could be pretty dangerous. At 6, probably want to fade. So, we'll see how that goes as the meet goes on, but that's a big win for Wendy Anderson with Ronaldo Cumberbatch up on the ride. And you get a huge price in the exacta Saturday service, 35-1. Mibella at 8-5, and then Temperature Way at 7-5. So, big win there for Artist and Dancer to get the job done. So, that's where we are.
Nice
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
we are still alive, ladies and gentlemen, in the pick 4. And I'm glad to say the Team Foghorn is also still alive in the pick 4.
Love it.
In
Love it,
Arkansas.
Shotty.
So I love it. Shoddy and Team Foghorn is still alive. That is fantastic. So I love that. And Rodney, that 6 gave me some palpitations as well. That 6 almost blew up a lot of people's tickets, I think.
Yes,
and that 6 was coming for sure. But gutty effort there for the 5 to get the win. And like you guys said, I thought the 5 was cooked coming into the stretch. I thought for sure the 3 was going to blow right by and just didn't.
The afterburners.
Yeah.
Wow.
So big effort there for the number 5. And we'll get those payouts here in a little bit in terms of what everything's going to pay once the results become official in this race. And we still got 2 more to go. Got 2 more legs to go as well in our sequence. So we got always exciting race coming up. We got a $7,500 claimer going 6 furlongs, and then the final race is a really exciting $20,000 maiden special weight. Actually, this was actually such a big race that DRF actually did a video on it, which I thought was really cool.
Wow.
So that was kind of neat that they did that, highlighted that race because there's some really nice horses in there. So excited to talk about that one when we get there. But we got the prices up. So Artist and Dancer pays $8.40 to win. Saturday service pays $21.20 to place. There have been some nice place bets today at Assiniboia.
Yeah.
And then Mabella pays $2.50 to show. The exacta $1 pays $65.35. The $1 try pays $292.20. The $1 super pays $282.25. And the closing out of the pick 3 pays $123.05. So a big time race there from the number 5 Artist and Dancer. And we move along and we're still alive. And Mark, are you still alive or not?
I am not. No, I'm
Oh,
not.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Happens.
Guys,
It was a little cheap stab, so it was fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got to head out, guys.
All right.
Thanks so much.
All right, cool, man.
All right.
Bring him home safe. Mark, Austin, Jessica, always a pleasure, my friend. Keith, you're the best.
Good
Manny,
time. Appreciate it.
Sean,
Thank you.
Absolutely. Sean, if we start losing, it's because you left. All right. I just want to let you know.
exactly.
All right.
By the way, I noticed last week, every bomb is ridden by Bino. That
Yeah.
He is bringing in bombs like consistent for like a week and a half. He's been bringing these bombs in.
Yep.
So he's definitely a kid to start watching here because he is bringing in some prices. I mean, not always winning, but he's always right there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Obviously, he was the one on Saturday service in the last race. So
and he had he had the bomb too. Is that?
Oh, yeah.
So he's really riding well.
He is.
All right, bring it home, guys.
All right, thanks, Sean. Appreciate you coming and hanging out. So we're down to 4, but that's okay. We still got plenty. We still got 70 people in the chat. Huge shout out to everybody who's sticking there with us. Really appreciate it. right at the wire, the Lionel Reyes of Assiniboia Downs. That's actually not a bad comparison. I like Lionel, but we got a lot of people in the chat. Make sure to press that subscribe button if this is your first time checking out all of us on Trust the Profits. We got a lot of great content, from live streams like this one on Monday and Thursday nights, to handicapping videos, to pedigree videos that Jessica does, to all the horse racing news shows, etc. Got a lot of great content. Also, make sure to check out everything Mark and all the guys on the Wrong Lead are doing as well. You can follow Mark at 2_turns, and then on the Wrong Lead is wrong_lead. And check out their YouTube content. It's always a blast. I love talking to you guys about that. And, whether I'm just a substitute for Caleb or I'm being brought on, in a full-time capacity, I always enjoy hanging out with you guys. So
we had to bring somebody to bring the Q factor up between Josh and I. So, had to have, somebody look nice and handsome. So,
substitute cute. That's what I am. I'm not full cute like Caleb. I'm a substitute cute, and I think that's a fair assessment of things. And I have to dress it up. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into this. Out of the bed in the mornings, it's just a hot mess. So, listen, we have a lot of fun here on the channel. We have a lot of fun talking with our good friends here. Keith, how are we doing on Stable Duel, by the way, Keith? How are we doing? I know there was a little bit of a mix-up with scoring earlier, but it seems like that's gotten clarified.
I think they're sorting it out, actually. Yeah, they came out with Stable Duel is really good with communication to the players. So they came out with like a notice, like on your notification, saying that they're aware of the points issues. And I think it actually fixed 1 or 2 races, and then I think there's still 1 race they have to fix. But
okay, I think the third race, I think they still have to fix. But
kind of don't want them to fix it because I think it's more points for me. I actually hit the exacta in my $5, one of my $5 stables that last race. So that's really
nice. Okay, excellent. Excellent.
And I skipped it in one other one, so I'm right there in the money on a couple of them.
Yeah. So through 4 races, it does look like they have now updated all of the races that are that have been run to this point. So they don't have the 5th race up yet, but through 4 races, we got in terms of the chat in the $5 game. One of my stables is doing quite well. I'm in 5th. We got Tim with riders up in 2. Both of his are in 7th. We got Cool Airman in 12th. We got some people in the chat that are hanging out and doing well. Penn State Scott hanging out, doing pretty well there also. So that's great to see. Oakley Jeter in the $21 game. Let's see how we're doing there. Keith doing great in the $25 game. You're in 3rd place right now. That's fantastic. We got Tim riders up in 6th place right there. So a lot of people doing well. El Hombre in 16th place. I'm in 21st, but I'm waiting for that late kick to come in. Who did I have in that race? Unfortunately, I had me Bella. But anyway, we'll survive in advance. We'll see how that goes from there. There's the one I had Artisan Dancer. I knew I had Artisan Dancer in one of them, so I did have Artisan Dancer in the one. We'll keep that updated as we get closer to once they update the scores. Artisan Dancer was used by 31% of stables in Stable Duel. So
I'll be happy if I can beat 10 people at this point.
That's all right.
That's my new goal.
We all have days like that. There was a day last week, and Mark, I'm sure you've had days like this on Stable Duel or just in general. I had one. I entered 2 stables. One of my stables finished like 7th. The other finished dead last. And I was like, I don't understand how I could have the same opinions and just manage to construct it in such a way that one was so bad and one was so good with the same thoughts. And so it was just like, it was very interesting to see. I was like, Jesus, this is rough.
I picked the wrong favorites to hang my hat on.
Yeah.
Like I skipped the 2 in the first race to get the 3 in this last race. And that was not the choice.
It is one of those things. Right at the wire asking if it's a casual night for me. Yes, it is. Tomorrow, or I guess Wednesday is the start of summer. We're going to the summer casual look. We're just it's a collared shirt, so we still got the polo. I'll still wear the cap. And the cap again is not to hide the hair as much as to contain the hair. So I know that
you can only hope to contain it.
Yeah, I know our good friend Chuck Simon, who's a former trainer. The first time he saw a picture of me without the cap, he was like stunned. He's like, "Oh, this whole time I thought you had hair like Jeff Van Gundy, the former coach of the New York Knicks." I was like, "No, I have a full head of hair, but I just wear this because otherwise it's like just an afro." So it's all over the place. So, but yeah, we're going cash tonight, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun here. So listen, let us know how you're doing in Stable Duel. Let us know that in the chat. Let us know how you're doing with your bets. Who are you playing? Are you still alive in the pick 4? Let us know. If you're not alive, how are you backing it up? Are you bailout daily double? How are you playing race 6 and 7? So let's talk a little bit about race 6. This is, like I said, a 6 furlong $7,500 claimer, and there's some interesting horses in here. And I ultimately went on kind of 2 prices, but I'm interested in where you guys went. Mark, I'll start with you. Where did you go in race number 6 at Assiniboia tonight?
Yeah, I thought this was really interesting, just given the money that's going to this too here.
Yeah.
The board seems to be just going very aggressive with this horse, and this is a horse that's never shown any speed, and we've seen all of tonight that ever speed's been phenomenal. So I'm a little confused, but I ended up on 2 horses here. The 4 Dazzle and Mischief is going to be my top choice in here. This is a horse that if you look at look at his wins, he's a very much an every other type horse. Looks like he normally needs one off the layoff. He got that one off the layoff last time out, so I expect a little better performance. And Whitehall sticks with him here, so a lot of things to like about the 4. Has enough speed to. I don't know if they're going to go to the lead. They may stalk the 1, but a horse that definitely has enough speed to be really forwardly placed. And the other horse I thought was interesting in here was this 7 horse. Horse that is won that last effort. On this track, go on this trip, and this is a trainer who's really good on these turnbacks, these short layoff horses that are So this horse only ran a week ago, but he's 20% right back. So same jock, same connections all the way around. So I thought the 7, who's actually taken a bit of money off that morning line, was also an interesting player in this race.
Yeah. I like that 7 too. And I'll be honest, I'm really kicking myself for not including the 7 on my ticket, but I just from a price standpoint, ultimately went with the 8, and I'll get to the 8 in a second. But I'm with you on the 4, one that I really like a lot. Keith, where did you end up going in this race?
Yeah, so I was this is really definitely wide open with a few contenders, and I did go with Dazzle and Mischief on top. Just a lot of points that Mark just made. I think this horse really loves 6 furlongs, and Whitehall back up, and has won multiple times at this distance the last meet. So you gotta consider that consistency that this horse had. I know that this horse hung last time, and I'm just kind of hoping that maybe this is just like the first start back off the layoff. So I was looking for a stronger effort, and let's see, we're getting 3-1 right now. So that was my top pick, Dazzle and Mischief. And then I was looking actually, Matthew, at your 8 as my second pick there.
Okay.
Tara Watt. So I looked back at the Will Rogers races. I just thought that this horse consistently, I like to see this with the lines, is that really kind of gained a lot throughout the stretch. And I know it didn't really win a lot, but actually if you look back at March of earlier this year, had a nice stretch there at Will Rogers, and won impressively last time at Assiniboia. So I thought this was a good stable duel horse at 6-1 I used in one of my stables. And then I was looking at kind of chalky for the 3rd spot. I went with the 5 Diamond Digger. And second time with Chow aboard, and I think we'll just appreciate the extra distance, and could sit at least not too far back. I think that's kind of, you don't want to be too far back at Assiniboia, and then kind of just can work out a trip. But at 2-1 morning line, I couldn't put this horse on top for a value standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. It's second back from a really long layoff. I mean, this is a horse that was 4 for 4 starting his career, winning multiple stakes races at Assiniboia back in 2021. Went to Santa Anita and tried the turf for some reason on a really big time, $100,000 optional claimer. Finished last that day, well beaten, comes back, and it really hasn't quite been the same horse since. We'll see. Second back from the layoff, maybe he can take a step forward. Again, at that price, I wasn't necessarily thrilled. But Jessica, where did you go in this race, both in terms of your picks as well as maybe where you're thinking in stable duel?
Yeah, the 4 makes a lot of sense in here as far as like a top pick goes, but I ended up on the 8 in stable duel. I thought that the little bit of a drop now that he's lost the condition was interesting, probably fits. in the 75 open level coming out of the condition. Again, I'm not super familiar with the conditions and the way the class levels play here, but that kind of seemed logical to me off of the win. And then aside from that, I thought the 2 was a horse that was usable in here. Don't love the horse, hasn't really done a lot lately, but another one who's kind of dropping down a bit and has some races that are competitive with the group to go back to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a buyer speed figure standpoint, the 2 makes a ton of sense because you go back and look at the races at Turf Paradise, and any of those last really 4 or 5 efforts from a buyer speed figure standpoint are going to be enough to win here. I mean, 62, 63, 71, 66. I mean, I think the buyer par in this race, according to DRF, is 63. So again, this horse has run multiple races faster than that. Was on a sloppy track last time at Assiniboia, and that was a big field. We talked about that big 12 horse field, another horse breaking from the far outside there. So maybe that's a horse that, comes back a little bit better this next time out. My top choice was Dazzling Mischief as well. The reasons Mark talked about, the reasons Keith talked about. I think this is also a really kind of effective horse in terms of, now you're getting second back from the layoff. I think going the 6 furlongs makes a lot of sense. This is a horse that, if I'm not mistaken, is 11 for 16 in the money with 4 wins at this distance. So just very consistent. The 7 was a horse I really liked, Little Toe. Mark, you touched on this one. I like this horse quite a bit. And was kind of one of my underneath plays that I thought about using, but I think this horse can sneakily win this race. And then my value play was number 8, Terawatt. This was, or actually that was my top pick. My value play was Little Toe. But my Terawatt was a horse at 6-1 I really liked a lot. I thought this horse had the opportunity to take a step forward after the last effort. I thought 6 furlongs will work out just fine. I thought this horse can sit a few different types of a trip. It can go to the lead. It can win. It demonstrated that winning and claiming 10 non-winners of 3 last time out. But this horse, if you go back and look at some of the races it ran at Will Rogers earlier this year, can sit a little bit as well and can sit off the pace and go. So it gives Ali a little bit of, choices in the jockey stirrups. Also, when Ali and Taphorn work together, 14 is the 43% winning percentage of the 446 ROI. So Terawatt was one that I was taking a look at. But, Yeah,
I was going to say, is it one horse that I was kind of surprised that no one mentioned, and that's the 1 horse Himmelstein in here. I don't think anybody mentioned this horse. Right. So this arguably is going to be your leader. This is probably your speed of the speed in this race. Horse that is back in the Shelley Brown barn. Shelley Brown is notorious for having these horses that run really well, and then they need a start. They all need a start. Mm-hmm. She's like off the long layoff, she's like a 2% trainer, and but then when she comes back second off the layoff, she's 23%. She went from Lewis, who I don't think has a win on the meet, to one of her go-to jocks in Cumberbatch. So I really wonder if this horse might go to the lead and play catch me if you can. And I don't know if they necessarily can. Some of those races from last summer at Assiniboia do really fit in with this field. So
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, you just to your point, first to second back. Last year goes from a 43 buyer first race out to a 67 buyer second race out. I mean, there was clearly, significant progression. Now you had some muddy surfaces. The horse was stretching out a little bit more, but still, second time out was well. This horse was, you're right, running in an optional claiming 10 last year. So a little bit of a higher caliber, ran in a couple stakes races over kind of up in some other courses later in the fall. So, yeah, I think Himmelstein, 19-1 on the board, has taken a little bit of money, come down from the morning line 30-1. Marquis Well is actually your current favorite, the number 2, at 5-2. And this was a horse that was 7-2 on the morning line. Then you see the 4, Dazzling Mischief, is at 3-1. You have the number 5 horse. Diamond Digger has kind of floated up a little bit to 7-2. The Little Toe has taken the money from 8-1 down to 9-2. And then Terawatt's a little just flat on the board right now with 6-1 morning line, 7-1 currently. So, this is a tough one. I know, I was a little excited to see that Kurt liked Terawatt as well, because sometimes when you're on an island, people are like, oh, somebody else is on that island with me at least. It's not entirely lonely. We'll see. I know Stretch was on. He really liked Little Toe quite a bit in this spot. So, we'll see how this one plays out. But we're getting close here to post time. And now, Mark, did you come back and are you playing any daily double to close things out? Or are you playing this race vertically at all?
Yeah, I'm playing a double. I have a 4-7 over 310 2x, and then I have a 4-7 over 4-8 1x. So
all right, nice. Jessica, are you doing any place and show bets this time? Are you doing anything? What's going on?
I think I'm done betting for the night at this point.
you nailed your $12 place bet, and you're good.
Yeah,
there.
and then I spent 10 of it losing, so I'm gonna stay at hitting.
Go home with your $2. That's good though.
yeah. Hey, you left with what you came with. That's all right.
Yeah.
And Keith, are you playing this one at all, or are you just sticking to your picks that you might be alive to? Or are you playing this one vertically, horizontally at all?
I'm just gonna stick to this to the stable duel. I'm coming down the stretch with a couple really close finishes here. I didn't realize I'm 6th in the $5 game, and I actually have let's see what I have here. I got the 5 and the 7 to close out my stable there in for 6th place there. And then in the bigger money one, I got a couple interesting ones here. It's just a little slow. Let's see. I ended up with the 2, even though it wasn't in my top 3. I actually was watching the post parade, and the 2 was really a big horse. Looked really excellent in the parade, I thought. So, and then I used the 8 also just to kind of hopefully get in the money. So kind of just ride it out with the stable duel right now. It's going to be close.
There you go. No, we got, and by the way, the stable duel is updated, and you're right. You're sitting 6th in the $5 game. We got Tim Riders Up is 12th and is 12th in both of his stables. Let us know how you're doing. It looks like Cool Airman's 25th. We got some people doing all right there. In the $25 game, I'm sitting at 20th and 29th. It's just no good. But shout out to Gino Picola, who was on last week. He's sitting in first place right now. El Hombre's in 6th. Tim's in 7th. Riders Up. So, and then Keith, you're right outside of the money in 13th right now. So, definitely some good vibes there in terms of the $5 and $25 games as we get closer. And let us know how you're playing this one. If you're playing vertically, horizontally, what you need to be alive to keep things rolling here. So always like to see that. Always like to see, people trying to stay alive here in a couple. And I got one. See, I do this on purpose sometimes because there's one $5. I think there's a $5 or is it $25 stable. There's one of the stables where even though we have 2 races left, I still have 4 horses left. And I do this to myself because I'm like, I'm going to make a huge charge at the end. And I'm always just like, I'm going to go from last to first. And I use like 8, I don't know. I just like using all my horses at the end. Even though it's much smarter to use more horses at the beginning a lot of times in stable duels. So
you like to Rosario stable duel then?
Hey, baby, salute the stars all day. No Rosario on closers. No more Rosario on closers for me. Gotta be like middle of the pack.
By the way, can we talk for a second about how good that ride was on Salute the Stars this weekend in the Pegasus?
Oh, that was to me, that was the race of the weekend. That was really cool race.
Yeah.
And King's Barnes came back, I thought ran well, but just Salute the Stars with the start, and then just kind of was rank, and it was just that was all heart there to win, and that's a big Brad Cox horse to watch now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark, I know you and I talked a little bit about on the live stream last week about why is Joel Rosario riding this Brad Cox horse, and I made a joke I think to Josh that in my opinion Florent Giroux had exactly a 0.0% chance of winning that race with if he was up on that horse given that ride. And so that's why Joel's riding that horse. Apparently, that was a huge race.
Yeah, you always wonder. I mean, certain trainers, especially some of those super trainers, they have, if you watch Chad Brown, you'll see him move jockeys around. Is he trying to fit the jockey personality to the horse's personality, trying to get the best fit for the situation? Cox definitely does that to some degree. So,
yeah, absolutely. So that was a big effort. And King's Barnes, I think that's maybe one of the concerns you have with a horse like Two Phils. I mean, obviously Two Phils stayed up and ran really well, but King's Barnes obviously was up on that pace and then faded badly in the Kentucky Derby, came back and ran a perfectly fine race, but actually ran a very similar race to Verifying, who kind of did the same thing and finished second in the Matt win. So interesting as we get closer to race 6.
Let's say Kingsbarn's one of those horses you're still waiting for him to take that next step forward, right?
Right.
I mean, he was always figure light going into the Derby, and a lot of people were behind him, and I never really understood it. I guess they were hoping he really showed up Derby day and took that step forward, and we're still kind of waiting for that step forward, aren't we?
Yeah,
we are. A bit of a morning glory. People were all over him in the mornings and stuff, and he's just kind of he's a good horse. He's a
great horse. I mean, he's a very fair,
but he's not the top of the Pletcher tiers the way people were saying, oh, this is the horse before even the Louisiana Derby.
I will say that was one of the better days I cashed out. I think I got 9-2 in that Louisiana Derby on him, and I'm like, I am putting a lot of money on him that day because I was like, there is no speed in this race. And indeed, there was no speed in that race.
Exactly.
He's an interesting horse. We can talk about him a little bit more after this race because I'm not really sure where his future is necessarily because he's not fast enough to take him gate to wire, but I don't know if he's fast enough to cut back either. And so he's interesting. So listen, we got race 6 coming up here. Turn it over to Kurt on the call. Good luck on all of your bets here. If you're alive to the pick 5 or pick 4.
And they're off. From the middle of the track, Little Toe showing good early speed with Himmelstein. Pressuring from the inside. In between horses, Diamond Digger. Takes it 3 across the track. Behind them, Terawatt, Dazzling Mischief, Gold Special. Back in 5th on the rail. Then it's going to be Roaming Union and Marquis Well. The early trailer, 22-4. The opening quarter. A short lead for Little Toe. Diamond Digger on the inside. Terawatt making a big move 3 wide to engage Little Toe. These two lengths ahead of a rallying Roman Union and Marquis Well making up big strides. 45-4 for the half. Terawatt on the outside. Little Toe battling back. Roman Union making up ground in the middle of the track. And Marquis Well, Roman Union now blows on by, bombs away. Roaming Union is going to take it. Little Toe seemed to hang on for second. Marquis Well in 3rd and 4th. The Terawatt.
Well, there you go. Bombs away indeed. As the number 6 horse, who exactly zero of us talked about. But we should say, what did Sean just say right before he left?
He left us with some knowledge.
Yep. Bino has been getting home on these long shots. And don't you know it, Roaming Union had a huge prize for Tom Gardapi Jr. And with Bino up on the board, up on the mount, gets home. I mean, takes a huge step forward. A horse that was in the Diodoro barn coming out of Canterbury, but just didn't really show anything last time out. But that was also a really long layoff.
Yeah, like those Oaklawn Park races last year, sure. But where was the indication that this horse at 8 was going to come back to that?
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. That's
Props
a tough
to
one.
Anybody who had him.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had the 6, congrats, especially up top.
I want to see how many stables use that.
Yeah.
That's something else.
That's one I did not see that one coming. And we are out of the pick 4.
Very poor. Yeah.
So, yeah, one of those things, but that's 6. You're right, Jess. You know, if you go back to look at the March races and maybe some of the, at Oaklawn, sure. But the fact that this horse just kept getting kind of, slower and slower as the year went on, and then goes to the bench, changes barns, goes up to Assiniboia, runs kind of it didn't show anything that first race at all. Hard to imagine that he was going to make up that sort of a progression in the second race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
I could have never had him.
No.
Never.
No way.
No. That's why they run the races, folks, because sometimes you sit there, you look at the PPs till you're blue in the face, but and you go cross-eyed. But every once in a while, a horse just takes a huge step forward, and certainly that's one that did for that race. So.
Yeah, I feel like the only way to have that horse is if you were just blindly betting the horse with the best lifetime figure.
Yeah,
that's probably right. That's the only possible way if you just didn't even look and just said, okay, best lifetime. I don't care when it was.
Right.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that is a tough one. Little Toe finishing second, Marquis Well finishing third, Terawatt finishing fourth, Gold Special, another really big long shot, finishing fifth. Dazzling Mischief just didn't really fire at all.
Yeah.
It was a disappointing effort. I lost track of the ride at one point. I didn't know if there was anything that happened there, but it just didn't really take a step forward. But,
right.
So, Roaming Union getting it done. Just talk about completely reversing form.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the fact that Little Toe went off 7-2 is shocking. I didn't even realize that was that low.
Yeah. And Roaming Union, just to put a pin in this, was used by exactly 2% of stables in Stable Duel tonight.
Wow.
3 of 129 people used Roaming Union. And I'd like to, and I probably think that a lot of those people were like, I only have $250 left and I need to use a horse. And they just kind of randomly went to Roaming Union. Maybe somebody was like, this is my first horse I'm using. So I don't want to take any credit away. But we got the prices, and oh boy, are their prices. Roaming Union pays $58.50 to win. Little Toe pays $4.60 to place, and Marquis Well pays $2.70 to show. The $1 exacta pays $146.40. The $1 try pays $524. The $1 super pays $19.84. A good year and a good book. And the super high five carryover $24.61, and the $1 pick 3 pays out $438.25. So, man alive, right at the wire. I see in the chat, used Roaming Union. Shout out to you, sir. Back class and second off. Yes, but I hear you. I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree with that, but that's a hell of a jump to take second off, because that horse has shown nothing towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So, hey, congrats to you though, man, getting it done. That's
Definitely.
awesome. So that's you're gonna make a huge jump up on Stable Duel as a result of that in the rankings. So that's great. Love to see that. But now we're getting to the most exciting race in the card, in my opinion, which is the $20,000 maiden special weight race to close things out. And I mentioned this at the beginning. And that was the number 8 horse in this race was the one I was most excited to see run Island High because of the pedigree. This is a horse that is a full sibling to Hidden Grace, who was a multiple stakes winner at Assiniboia, 15 for 20 in her career winning at Assiniboia. Every single offspring that has raced, that has come out of this dam, has won. Most of them, and they've all won multiple times. 2 for 5 first time out winners. There's a lot of precocity here for the Lisa Pruitt barn, who is super live, winning 32% on the meet. And this is one that I'm excited to see. I'll be interested to see how the board plays with this one. But there's also a huge favorite in this race with Sparkling Silver, the number 9. And I think another nice horse in the number 4, Double Barrel Delight. So there's a lot of really nice horses in this race. I was excited by this one. Jess, where did you ultimately go with your choices in this final race at Assiniboia tonight?
Yeah, I thought the 9 was the horse to beat, and I played the 8 in Stable Duel for the reasons you mentioned, and also the trainer stats first time out, and the fact that the trainer wins on Brisnet 15% in maiden special weight. And I feel like in tracks like this, like at least like I'm trying to kind of transfer some of my Charlestown knowledge here, kind of with the bull ring. I like seeing that the trainers win at good percentages in maiden special weights, that they know what they have.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good stat at tracks like this that tend to have a little bit lower level horses, to see that the trainer knows, like, okay, yeah, this is a maiden special horse at this level.
Yep.
And just a fun fact for anybody like me who was just wondering who Going Commando is. It's actually a full brother to Rockport Harbor. Fun fact.
Okay.
So,
Very cool.
Decent little stallion pedigree there for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's so interesting is that the dam, High Pioneer, was really a turf horse, or was a turf. I shouldn't say really. She was a turf horse, and yet she's turned out all these fantastic dirt horses up in Assiniboia. So it's interesting to see how that's kind of played out over the years. But yeah, that was that was I think a fun race to take a look at there. And yeah, Sparkling Silver, very good horse, even money odds for Carl Anderson with Jorge Carreno aboard, and a horse that's finished second the last 2 times out at the maiden special weight level. And so definitely a lot of things to like there, as a horse that had been running at Woodbine last year and is now coming over to Assiniboia. Mark, where did you end up going in this race? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I thought this was a tough little race. I think probably my top choice is going to be the 3 horse, Just Oppose, the other Lisa Pruitt horse in here. I do like horses that have a little bit of experience, and albeit her stats don't back it up as much as you'd hope. I'm hoping this horse was squeezed a little bit back at the break. And a lot of times with these first timers, any little thing happens and they just sort of don't get involved. They kind of give up. They're kind of over it. So I'm hoping that, having that one start in the bag, will move this one up. And actually on time for him, I think it's one of the faster figures in the field. The other horse that I thought was really interesting was the horse way on the outside, and the 10 horse, Mila Maria. It happens to be that Whitehall gets up on this horse. And I don't know why, when he probably had other choices in here. He looks like he could have ridden others. Work Tab doesn't jump off the page at you, but it is a 20% firster trainer, and a trainer who also is 25% of the year. Small barn, it seems like, but her and Whitehall have historically been, again, 20% together. So if 20% connections, and I'm getting, looks like 6-1 right now live, that I'll take that. And those are the 2 I went with, but I thought this was a race you could really be spready in and looking for coverage. This is a tough race.
Yeah, absolutely. Keith, where were you headed in this one?
No, I agree. I think this was betting wise and competitive wise, really wide open. I do like Double Barrel Delight, number 4, as my top pick. I really like the consistency of this horse, and Chow is aboard again, and just consistently. I know tries hard and has a little bit of second-itis, but I was kind of looking for that consistent horse in a wide open field. So I know it might be short, sort of a short price, but I like the 4 on top. And then, I hope the 8 runs well, because that's actually my last horse in the big stable duel. And just all the points you went on. I was looking at DRF formulator, and I was saying before, just a lot of the horses I didn't see too much pedigree angle on, but this 8 just jumped off the page. And I really just, in the betting board is saying that 7-2 live right now. So that's Island High is my second pick. And it's interesting, Mark brings up the 10 is actually my third pick here. And it's same sire, Going Commando. So that really, jumped at me. And I know I like this Work Tab because it's consistent. I didn't see any gaps. And I know the 10 post is a little concerned, but I just thought it was interesting. Whitehall. I mean, just whenever these horses there's a lot of angles going on there. So I just kind of didn't want to. I wanted to include at least. So I thought it was interesting. Going Commando horse. So I have that as my third pick.
There you go. No, I think it makes sense. And one of the things I will say is I typically do like first time starters who've put in a couple of 5 furlong works. And so that is something, even if they don't jump off the page, I like to see that they're pushing them 5 furlongs, going a little bit longer. So I definitely like to see that. I will say, just to put a pin in this conversation that we've had about the 8 and the pedigree, here's the statistics of the dam's offspring, High Pioneer. And I posted this on Twitter earlier. Career lifetime record of her offspring. She's had 5 raced offspring. 38 wins and 96 career starts for a 39% winning percentage. Okay. You go, how are they at 2? 8 for 14 winning, 57%. How are they at 3? 17 for 31% winning, 54%. How are they at 4 and up? 13 for 51, only 25%. Oh, how are they sprinting? 26 for 68, 38%. Oh, I bet they can't route. 12 for 28, 42%. How are they on a wet track? 7 for 16, 43%. I mean, this is just obscene numbers. I don't think I've ever seen a dam of any level have offspring that successful and just that consistently. Now, 4 of them have been sired by Going Commando, who we talked about as the sire here. So clearly that's a winning combination. I think that's why a lot of us were drawn to that 8, who is obviously getting bet down. So, if you have a couple $1,000, what is Going Commando going for? $1,300? I don't know. You may need to buy into that broodmare too. She might end up in Keeneland at this rate. So we'll see. Or watch out, the Japanese will come get her or something like that. And so they'll buy them up. Now we do have a really exciting moment, and I apologize if I missed it in the chat. I don't think I did. It's time for the Sleepy Time horse pick if Colin's still out there. And I don't know who the Sleepy Time horse is, but this is, of course, the horse that Colin picks every single week, that because it's 11 o'clock on the East Coast, Colin's convinced, and when we say this jokingly, but Colin thinks that this is a horse that is sleepy and is not going to be really alert and awake to run this race. Right now, I'll be honest, the 2 is looking pretty sleepy in the stall as they're zooming in on it. But this is Colin's thing. So if Colin's still watching, he'll put the sleepy time selection of the horse to avoid betting on in this race. And so far, Colin just said definitely the 2. All right. So everybody stop betting the 2. Do not include the 2 on your tickets. The 2 is the official Sleepy Time pick. The Shelley Brown, Ronaldo Cumberbatch horse, who actually, is not bad. 12-1 morning line, 14-1 currently on the board, and actually is Stretch's third choice. Colin saying, do not bet the 2. The 2 is definitely asleep on his legs. So
I'm running to the windows. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. That always cracks me up every week. So Trusty sharing his last play, so he's going to go with a trifecta with a 3, 4, 8, 9 with the 2. Trusty, how much does this trifecta cost? Dear God, man. Basically included every single horse in the race. With the 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, with the 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. Trusty, good Lord. I have a budget, my man. I got to pay for dog food now and again. How much does that ticket cost? So I love you.
It's only $16 on a 20-cent base.
All right, on a 20-cent base. Okay. Fair enough. Dennis, fair enough.
You're allowed to beat up Dennis all you want. He deserves it. But, in this case.
Yeah, in this case. All right. That's fair enough. Yeah, all right. We're going to need to hit some bombs, though, for that to pay off. So,
you could lose money on that ticket. So be careful.
Yeah, exactly. You could hit and lose. So, you see Dave Barista on the 9 to win. That's certainly Curtin Stretch's top pick in this one. So, we will see what will pay. Well, we'll see what it'll pay. But listen, this will be an exciting race. We got 4 minutes to post here to close things out. I'm going to check the Stable Duel rankings real quick to see if they've been updated before the last race. I think I'm thoroughly out of it today. I don't know if they've been updated. I don't think they are. Yeah, they're still pending that last race. So not quite yet. But there you go. I think, So we'll keep you updated on that as they get closer. But looks like they're getting jockeys up and they are moving out. So that 2 still looks pretty sleepy. So I'm with you there, Colin, on that one. But we'll see Nick here is sharing his ticket as well. So he's playing the 4 up top with the 8-9 with the 1, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10 $1 try for $10. There you go. That's a little bit more economical. I like that. Take a stand up top. So very good. I do like that 4 quite a bit. That was my top choice in this race. Double Barrel Delight. Thought second back from the layoff, this horse showed some progression. Had run against the boys before, run in a stakes competition last year, was well beaten, admittedly, but ran up against a really good horse I love my life, and another one, Lady Cop, who are both really nice horses. So horse took a step forward, I thought, under Chow last time out. I think, has every opportunity to take a step forward second time out. So that was my top choice. The 10 is interesting, Mark. The more I look at that 10, the more I'm interested in that horse. And that's one that's taken a little bit of money, but it's still at a really nice price at 8 to 1. So, and then we got Sparkling Silver, the 9, who we talked about a little bit, but is actually floated up. It started out at even money and is now at 5 to 2. and Double Barrel Delight, who was started at 4-1, is down to 3-1. So those are kind of your two favorites. The 8 has taken quite a bit of money and is at 5-1, down from the morning line 8-1. And then the 3, Just Opposed, who was Mark, you mentioned as well, has taken a little bit of money, going from 15-1 all the way down to 6-1. So that one's pretty live on the board right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I expected the board to move around here. I don't know. Obviously, you'll see big moves here because the pools are a little bit thin. And I just, that 9 horse, I didn't quite know what to do with that horse. I tend to. I like to give horses a few chances to break their maiden. And this is another one back to the same level, but I just wondered, does this course kind of have a case of the hangs, didn't miss by much the last 2, just doesn't quite seem to have that killer instinct. Maybe they changed tactics today, but I thought there were more interesting outsiders.
Yeah. No, I get that. And I think, the 9 is always tough. I mean, that's why I kind of went past the 9 as well for that reason. And, I just thought I wasn't sure what to do with this horse either. So it's just one of those things. I just don't know what to do. Didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it was just a quick pass with the stable duel purposes. I couldn't, even money in this kind of wide open field. So I have a few different stables, but I never really considered the 9. I mean, the 9 could definitely win. It's just, I just can't. Consistently, I can't put these horses on top if I'm going to try to be successful. So.
Yeah. I think that's right, and I think especially in a big field, going with a $10,000 horse is really risky. Right. And so, Dennis is blaming us, by the way, that the prices are going down on the horses that he liked. So he's blaming me for the price going down on the 8. He's blaming you, Mark, for the price going down on the 3. And so it's one of those things. Colin is playing the 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 exacta and try box. So that's what he's playing there. So good luck to Colin. Notice that he left the 2 off the ticket because again, the 2 was the winner of the Sleepy Time Award. So this is a horse that would pay out huge in the pick 4 that they're posting up there. Would pay out $77,000. It's pretty nice payouts actually for it. Even though the 9
a little bit of money, the 2, but
the 9 will pay out. Even if the favorite wins, the 9 will pay out $1,200 to the pick 4. So that's really great. And the pick 5 even more. So hey, if anybody's still alive to the pick 4 or pick 5, let us know in the chat, and that would be huge, and we'll be rooting for your horse here in the last leg for sure. So let me check if they've updated stable duel. It doesn't look like they
I thought it was kind of interesting, just as I don't know if it's really relevant, but that the 8 didn't go with a pony in the post parade as a first time starter. I just thought that was an interesting a choice there.
Oh yeah,
very interesting. Yeah.
You never know.
You gotta try to see. That's very interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I just thought that was okay. I guess. I mean, does that mean they really trust that this is a pretty chill, laid back horse? That I mean, you saw the jockey right there with feet out of the stirrups. So
I'm wondering if he's got feet out, and I wonder if he's trying to get the horse to settle. If the horse is a little bit keyed up and want to get it away from other horses, and I know a lot of jocks will say that if you take your feet out of the stirrups, the horse will settle down. So.
Yeah,
it could be that a pony would rile him up more.
Put him and rile him up a little more, get a little keyed up in the paddock, maybe.
Yeah.
I just thought it was an interesting.
That was good eye.
Just something that you don't see that often, especially with a firster.
Yeah, no, good eye. And by the way, now the 8's floating up. Jessica, right from Jessica's, mouth to the betting boards. The 8 is floating up now to 6-1. So, Dennis, you're welcome. We're trying to get your prices back up there a little bit for you. Hey, I before we get into this last race, I need to say we still got 71 people in the chat. Thank you so much. That's absolutely awesome. We're going to be doing this every single week, by the way. Every week we're going to be doing the live streams out of Assiniboia on Monday nights, And we're going to be keeping up with Stable Duel. We're going to be giving out our picks and plays. We're going to be talking about the races, talking about other stuff going on in horse racing like we did today, where, we talk about Royal Ascot or the Ohio Derby or the races from last weekend and in between, etc. But it's a lot of fun. So like I said, make sure to press that like button. Really means a lot to us. Subscribe if you have not done so already. Really appreciate it. And it's been a lot of fun hanging out with everybody in the chat tonight. The chat is actually working. It malfunctioned 2 weeks ago. That was a disaster. So it's nice to hang out with everyone. And thank you again to Keith and Jessica and Mark for coming and hanging out all night with me as well. This is a lot of fun and a lot more fun than me monologuing for an hour and 20 minutes to start off this live stream of Kentucky Derby Day, which was one of the more surreal experiences. So
I have to ask with them. We got a second to go here. Are all of the pick fives 5 out of 5?
I was actually gonna say that. That's yes. Some of
It
the
looks like the 10 is the 10 uncovered.
Uncovered.
Or I mean, is the 10 would the 10 be a jackpot payout? I was looking at payouts, and the payouts don't make any sense given the board prices. And my ADW does not show 5 if it's 5 out of 5. So I'm just wondering if that is showing 4 out of 5 incorrectly, or is it a jackpot? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
The 1 and the 2 were like low.
The 1, the 2, and the 10 were all really low. So man, I can't imagine getting to the 1, 2, or the 10 and missing in some other leg and missing a absolutely massive payout.
Yeah, because look, the 3 and the 5 are the same exact price, but they're like totally 15 to 1 morning line versus 21. Maybe people have those covered.
I was looking. You have the 3, the 5, the 7, and the 8 all showing the same payout. So I was thinking, okay, maybe there's two tickets alive to each. That would make sense where they would be equal payouts. But then the other ones being so much shorter, maybe they're uncovered, which would be kind of crazy.
That 10 is super low.
Yeah. Nick is saying no jackpot payout in the chat. So, so I don't know what's going on. So, but he did say, what did he say? The 1, 2, 6, 10 is 4 out of 5. So
they are uncovered. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
There you go. Yeah.
Very interesting.
There you go. Yeah, you got some interesting stuff going on here. That's all because that huge bomb in the last race, which Right at the Wire had. But yeah, well, listen, everybody, I want to say, thanks for coming and hanging out. I see a lot of nice comments here in the chat in terms of people saying, this is their, most fun night of the week. So, definitely like it. Uncle Sully, good luck tomorrow at Royal Ascot to you as well. Joe, appreciate, you coming and hanging out every single week. Always a lot of fun to talk with Assiniboia. Right at the Wire, you and I both like Rogue Millennium a little bit tomorrow at Royal Ascot. I think that's worth to absolutely keep an eye on for tomorrow. I'll be using for sure. So always, like I said, good to see Uncle Sully in the chat. He's always a lot of fun to hang out. Wishing him all the best, obviously. Mountain Mike is going no on the 9. He's saying, listen, this is a horse, doesn't want any part of it. It's going to go with the 4-8 exacta box in the race. Don't blame me at all with that one. Definitely like that 4 quite a bit, and the 8 as well. So yeah, Tato brings up a great point that mathematically I'm the most talkative, independent, influential host in the business, and mostly just talkative. Everything else is really up for debate, but I can monologue with the best of them. So, awesome. All right, we are Mark. Are we alive to anything or on your end? Or
I'm not. Nope.
All right.
I need this 8 so bad to be in the top 3, and I have a chance to really cash here.
All right, so Keith needs the 8. Jessica, what did you play in Stable Duel? The 8?
The 8, but I have no chance. I might be able to reach my dream of hitting 65th and beating 10 people.
I love it. We got to live that dream. That's what we do here. We live out dreams, and so let's get to 65th and beat those 10 people. The hell with them. All right, let's turn things over to Kurt as they're getting ready to load. A lot of us here really like the 8. Exciting horse to pay attention to. Does look a little agitated, getting loaded in. So we'll see how they run, but going to turn it over to Kurt for the last race of the night. Good luck.
2 left to load. Even money favorite, Sparkling Silver.
There we go. looks like.
And now just waiting on Mila Maria, the other first-time starter, to the outside.
All right, they're in.
The field is all set. They're at the post.
Oh, the 8
And
hop.
they're off.
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
Wolf.
From the middle of the track, that's first Carry Come. Showing speed with Sparkling Silver. To the outside in second, in between horses. Everything to Gain with Double Barrel Delight and Just a Pose. They're running as a trio. Right behind them, Island High is up close, Ashes to Ashes. And Tieman's Flair is the early trailer. 23 seconds, the opening quarter. And it's free Carry Come on the inside. Sparkling Silver now taking over. Island High moving up smartly in third. Back on the rail, Double Barrel Delight. In between horses, Just a Pose. Ashes to the outside. They hit the head of the lane. 46 and 4.5. And Sparkling Silver has the lead by 5. Ashes to Ashes with a good stride. Iamila trying to come up the rail with Double Barrel Delight. But this is all Sparkling Silver getting the win. Double Barrel Delight second best. Third's going to go to Ashes. Fourth to Iamila.
There you go. Chalky way to end the night with the favorite getting the win there. And I don't know if that 8 could have had much of a worse trip on debut.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Showed some talent, I thought, but yeah, just so wide, and then made a big rush move. But yeah, I wanted to maybe I'm gonna put in my stable though. Kind of was a little agitated before the race too. So.
Yeah, that was a rough. Hopped at the start and just did not run particularly well there. So you're right. Made a big move to get up into contention, but I think used up a lot of the fuel to do that, and then kind of flattened out. And then was getting pancaked around coming in the stretch and had to move inside. That was not a great trip under any circumstances for that 8. So that's one I'll use next time out. For sure. So, but yeah, kind of chalky finish to the night. We had a lot of bombs, and then the last race we go, 4-5 over 5-2. 2 gets up there for third, I should say, at 25-1. But listen, always a fun night at Assiniboia Downs to hang out with you guys and to hang out with all of you in the chat. So want to just say a big thank you again to Keith, to Jessica, to Mark. Make sure if you're watching, check out all their different content that they're doing. Make sure to follow Keith on Twitter, Each and Every Stride. Jessica, Starry Day 93, all the stuff she's doing with Pedigree Puzzle, and then the great stuff she's doing with Little Bluebird Stables as well. Mark, all the stuff he's doing at On the Wrong Lead, which you can find at wrong_lead, and on YouTube at On the Wrong Lead. Guys, thank you so much again. Appreciate it. This is a lot of fun, and one of us has got to finish in the top 5 so we can get in this Manitoba Derby private contest by the end of the year. But we still got a few more weeks. And Jessica, we're going to get you up to 65th next week for sure.
Yeah.
We'll get you there, and Keith will get you in the top 5. And I don't know what I'll do with me. So, all right. Well, listen, again, thanks so much for everybody hanging out in the chat. Really appreciate it all night. Press that like and subscribe button. And until next time, my name is Matthew DeSantis. Wishing you a great and profitable day at the races and reminding you that it's now post time.